the Interstellar Mecha cook. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 276 Big Loss. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Lin Miaomiao came to the cafeteria with a refreshed spirit, and began to order food under everyone's eyes that looked like they had seen a ghost. No matter where you are, breakfast is always a little diversified, and you can order whatever you like. After taking 2 red bean paste buns and a bowl of soy milk, Lin Miaomiao walked to the restaurant and looked around. Not finding anyone she was particularly familiar with, she found a table and sat down at random. Before long, her table was full of people, all of whom were teammates who came to greet or chat at the meeting. Yu Hongbo couldn't keep his words to himself and was the first to ask, "Miaomiao, why are you here too? Isn't she on the list, idiot?" Bai Jin stepped hard on him under the table. Can he even speak? Doesn't he know what it means to be roundabout? Ah, Yu Hongbo screamed, holding his foot and accusing, "You vicious woman, are you going to cripple me?" "Don't worry, I can't cripple you with my little strength," Bai Jin said nonchalantly. "If I really wanted to cripple you, I definitely wouldn't just step on you once," Yu Hongbo said in disbelief. "What, you want to step on me more than once?" Bai Jin raised her chin triumphantly and was about to use her ultimate move when Lin Miaomiao said with a deadpan expression, "How about we change places for your flirting?" Flirting? Bai Jin felt as if she had seen a ghost when she heard that. She fled to a distant table with her plate in her hand. She didn't want to have anything to do with that idiot Yu Hongbo. Lin Miaomiao was surprised to be scared off by her words. Something was definitely wrong. He turned his gaze to the other person involved. "Aren't you going to follow her?" "Why would I?" Yu Hongbo said, munching on a corn bun leisurely. "She's frightened by what you said. If she follows, she'll run away again." "There's no rush." Apparently, he had a clue. Lin Miaomiao began to suspect. "Did you do that on purpose?" Yu Hongbo smiled but didn't answer. With so many people at the table, he couldn't admit it, or someone would get really angry. So this was also a form of courtship, a playful rivalry. Lin Miaomiao's perspective was completely changed. In that light, Yu Hongwen's erratic methods were no surprise. With this pair of playful rivals interrupting, everyone forgot about Lin Miaomiao's presence on the ship. They even agreed to go to the training room together after dinner. Breakfast lasted nearly 40 minutes, mostly spent chatting. Lin Miaomiao listened more than she spoke. After returning the dishes and was about to leave, Yun Yan rushed in. "Hey, Miaomiao, have you finished eating?" Yun Yan was a little surprised. "I actually ran upstairs to find you to have dinner together." Lin Miaomiao was bewildered. "We didn't agree to have dinner together, did we?" After she finished speaking, she realized something was wrong. When she woke up in the middle of the night last night, Yun Yan had actually left, leaving her to a man who was becoming more and more shameless and had peeled off his iceberg illusion. How disloyal of him. "It's true that we didn't agree to eat together, but didn't I tell you when I left? So I got up and came to tell you," Yun Yan said with a smile. "I have good news to tell you." Lin Miaomiao didn't care about the good news. When she heard her admit that she didn't tell him when she left, her eyes suddenly flashed with murderous intent. "Why did you leave in the middle of the night? You didn't even tell me. You made me so worried." Yun Yan silently glanced at her slightly bulging belly from eating. If she was worried, why would she have the mind to eat here instead of looking for someone? "Actually, I called you last night." Yun Yan stared at her with sincere eyes. "But I couldn't wake you up. The boss kept knocking, so I had to open the door. Then he said they were switching from solitary confinement to physical training and told me to go back to my dorm, and you just left me like that and ran off? Without even closing the door, that allowed some pervert to take advantage of her." Yun Yan scratched her head sheepishly. "I forgot. Later, I went back to check, and the boss had locked the door for me. By the way, Miaomiao, how did you know I left the door open? Did the boss get up that morning and tell you the good news?" Lin Miaomiao hesitated to explain. She didn't dare say in front of so many people, "Because your captain stayed in my dorm until the middle of the night," so she decided to change the subject. Then she discovered a truth she couldn't accept. When you left last night, the captain said there's no solitary confinement today, and it's physical training instead. Didn't he tell you this morning? Lin Miaomiao was incredulous. He told you last night. What's the matter? Lin Yin was confused by her excitement. Could he be upset that she received the news late? But she'd fallen asleep last night and couldn't be woken, so there was no way to notify her. Lin Miaomiao's thoughts drifted away. That jerk had taken advantage of her enough in the early morning hours, but just as she was about to get even with him, he changed the subject by talking about the punishment. Displeased with being put in solitary confinement, the conversation veered off, and she began to plead for herself and Lin Yin. At first, Yi Hongwen had sternly insisted that discipline must be maintained, or his prestige as captain would be undermined. Lin Miaomiao scoffed, "A captain who takes advantage of female members has no authority to speak of. I didn't take advantage of them. I just had some intimate contact with my girlfriend," Yi Hongwen replied confidently. "No one says you can't have a girlfriend in the same fleet." "What girlfriend? I never promised you anything," Lin Miaomiao raged. She hadn't responded, yet this man had the audacity to say that. "You didn't say yes, but we sealed it with a kiss last time," Yi Hongwen replied. The last kiss was just that forced kiss. It was clearly her first kiss that was forcibly taken away when she was stunned, but in his mouth, it became a token of love. Lin Miaomiao didn't know what to say. In the end, she figured it out. If the iceberg had become a gangster, then she had to keep up with the progress. Using a gangster to fight a gangster was the best way, so she started to play tricks too. "I don't care. I've grown up without a boyfriend. Don't try to force me to have one," Lin Miaomiao said with a wooden face. "If you push me to the limit, I'll openly find a boyfriend when I go back." Yi Hongwen wanted to say that no one dared to agree, but then he thought of Gu Qingheng who was eyeing him covetously, so he changed his words. "I was just joking. Of course I have to wait for you to agree in person. Also, I don't want to be put in solitary confinement. I want to go on a mission. You can change the punishment." Lin Miaomiao continued to play tricks. "It's better to replace the fleet that is not allowed to go on a mission. This is difficult," Yi Hongwen said with some embarrassment. "Many of the newcomers have more experience in missions than you. If I change the words and say that you and Yin are on this mission together, those who stay at the base will probably object, unless there is a legitimate reason." Lin Miaomiao's mind turned quickly. "Of course there is a reason. Aren't you injured? The doctor said you need to take good care of yourself. How can I cook for you if I don't come with you? As for Yin, she wants to learn cooking from me and serve everyone in the future. That's the only way." Yi Hongwen agreed reluctantly. "In that case, I'll have to trouble you to take over the ship's kitchen. However, even if you have an excuse, you still have to be punished. During the journey, you should report to the training room every day. I'll let Luo Cheng supervise your punishment training. If there is no confinement, the hard training is nothing." Lin Miaomiao readily agreed. Lin Miaomiao was still very satisfied with the result of cheating. She woke up in the morning and planned to tell Lin Yin the good news, but finally decided to inform her after breakfast. Who knew that after breakfast, before she had the chance to tell Lin Yin the good news, she said what she was going to say first. Only then did she realize she had lost a lot. Chapter 277 Special Sick Meal. Suffering a loss is a blessing. This was a popular saying on ancient Earth thousands of years ago. Unfortunately, Lin Miaomiao didn't believe it. Considering a loss a blessing was the thinking of saints, and she was just an ordinary girl. Having suffered such a great loss, she naturally sought redress, but she racked her brains and couldn't come up with a good countermeasure. In the end, she could only turn her attention to the sick meal. Hadn't she lured her aboard the ship to make sick meals for him? So, she might as well make him something nutritious. Lin Miaomiao already knew Yi Hongwen didn't dislike bitter melon and onions, so she ruled those out. After much deliberation, she settled on 3 dishes: stir-fried pork intestines, stir-fried pig heart, and stir-fried pig tongue with chili peppers. The soup would be lean pork and pork liver soup. After 2 or 3 years in this world, Lin Miaomiao had discovered that few people ate animal offal. Not many people knew that prepared offal could be quite delicious. They were practically unavailable in supermarkets, as everyone considered them dirty and disliked them even after washing them thoroughly. As a chef and foodie, Lin Miaomiao really enjoys edible offal like pig hearts and lungs, so she found a fresh food supermarket on Star Online and bought some. Today, she'd shed some blood and let someone taste the deliciousness of offal. At 11 o'clock, Lin Miaomiao finished training, wiped the sweat from her forehead, and went to the kitchen with her apprentice Yun Yan. She hadn't prepared the menu for the team members, so the lunch dishes were still decided by Chen Jiayu, and she only needed to help stir-fry them at this time. While cooking, Chen Jiayu was instructed by Lin Miaomiao to handle the pig offal she had taken out, while Yun Yan, under the banner of learning, sat at the chopping board and watched the fun. Seeing the contents of the washing basin filled with offal like large intestines and pig hearts, Yun Yan stuttered with disgust. "Miaomiao, are you mistaken? These are so filthy. You're planning to use them in cooking." Lin Miaomiao didn't argue with her about how delicious they were. Instead, he calmly reassured her, "Don't be afraid. These aren't for everyone. They're the captain's sick meal." "No way," Yun Yan gulped. "What a grudge this must have against the boss, thinking of using these for sick meals. It was intentionally disgusting. Actually, these taste pretty good, but you just don't know how to enjoy them." Lin Miaomiao sighed. "It's really unfair that delicious food has been used to disgust people." Yun Yan fell silent. No matter how delicious it was, no one would be happy to eat it if they knew it was awful. After the big pot of cooking, the offal was cleaned thoroughly by Chen Jiayu. Although Lin Miaomiao wanted to prank someone, she also wanted to eat it herself and didn't intend to make it smelly and unpalatable. During lunch, Lin Miaomiao devoured her portion with relish. The surrounding teammates were intoxicated by the aroma, but once they realized what it was made of, they swore by it and refused to look. Yi Hongwen, upon entering the kitchen, received several sympathetic glances. He didn't understand what was going on, but he didn't seem to mind. He simply walked over to stand beside Lin Miaomiao. Yun Yan, who was sitting next to her, tactfully shifted her seat. "Thank you," Yi Hongwen said politely. He was pleased with Yun Yan's tact and decided not to blame her for sneaking Miaomiao aboard. If Yun Yan knew what he was thinking, she would have burst into tears. It was Miaomiao who had secretly brought her aboard, yet the boss had said she was the one who had led Miaomiao astray. Such an injustice. Unfortunately, Yun Yan, beaming with joy at the boss's thanks, didn't have the ability to read people's minds. Because of the change in punishment, she felt grateful and admiring for the cold-faced, warm-hearted boss. She also felt a little reluctant to watch him devour the sick meal he was about to devour. "Miaomiao, where's my lunch?" Yi Hongwen asked. He had already sat down for a few minutes, but there was no sign of his hospital meal, so he had no choice but to ask. Lin Miaomiao put down her chopsticks, took out the 2 thermal lunchboxes from the space button, and threw them on the table. Her action was very picky, and the teammates who saw it were all frightened. "Everyone, how dare the little cook be so arrogant in front of the iceberg boss? She is really great." Yi Hongwen didn't care. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the lunchbox and was about to open it, when Gu Qingheng sat down opposite them with a tray. "Captain, you are so lucky. Miaomiao actually prepared a nutritious meal for you." Gu Qingheng smiled gently, but the smile did not reach his eyes. "You are so sour. Do you want to taste it too?" Yi Hongwen opened the big lunchbox and took out the small compartments inside one by one and arranged them. "Yet, I don't know if I'm lucky enough to have this." Gu Qingheng glanced at the 3 dishes casually. He was about to share a piece of the pie under the banner of brotherhood, but he found that those dishes were a little special. He was dumbfounded. "Why are they awful?" Gu Qingheng's face turned pale. He had no interest in continuing to look at such disgusting things. Yi Hongwen glanced at the Buddha statue without expressing any opinion. He picked up the chopsticks and started eating. He was not so particular. He would eat whatever dishes were there. It didn't matter whether they were dirty or not. As long as they were clean and edible, it was fine. "It tastes good. I didn't know these things were so delicious. Miaomiao can make more when you have time in the future," Yi Hongwen praised. Lin Miaomiao's face darkened. She did all this to make trouble for Yi Hongwen, but it seemed that she didn't succeed at all. What should she do? "Did you really eat it?" Gu Qingheng simply refused to believe his eyes. He must have forced it down his throat. "The internal organs are so dirty, who knows if they were cleaned properly? Aren't you disgusted?" "Hey, Kinkyu, what do you mean?" Lin Miaomiao slammed her chopsticks on the table. She was still upset that Yi Hongwen's reaction was beyond her expectations, but then she heard a friend complaining about these dishes and immediately got furious. "These vegetables are washed very clean, I'm eating them myself." Gu Qingheng froze. In his momentary disgust, He actually forgot that it was Miaomiao who cooked these dishes. He slandered these vegetables for not washing them cleanly in front of her. He simply deserved to be scolded. Miaomiao, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Gu Qingheng admitted his mistake very frankly and put the blame on Yu Hongwen. It's just that the captain never eats things like this, but he made an exception today. I'm surprised. Lin Miaomiao didn't care whether he was surprised or really disgusted. She finished her meal in a few bites, cleared her plate, and got up to leave. Miaomiao, have you finished eating? Gu Qingheng called her in surprise. Aren't you going to eat a little more? It was not easy for him to meet Lin Miaomiao during the meal, and Gu Qingheng was unwilling to let them not even say a few words. I'm not a pig, I will have indigestion if I eat so much. Lin Miaomiao curled her lips and left without looking back. He just said bad things about the food she made, and now he wants to chat with her again. She won't do it. Even her good friends can't forgive it. In comparison, Yu Hongwen's support is rare. Let's make a normal patient meal for dinner, stewing pig's trotters, just as a reward for knowing the food. Chapter 278 The sunken moon broke down. Apart from exercising and cooking every day, Lin Miaomiao's days on the Shenyu were very fulfilling. She was looking forward to reaching the Black Evil Star as soon as possible, which would give her a good opportunity to show her skills. However, when the Shenyu jumped a node of the Lingling star field, they stopped moving forward. The battleship's power system suddenly broke down and it can't run. We can't continue our journey, so we can only stop temporarily for repairs, the chief pilot Zhao Cheng explained to everyone on the central radio. The team members who unbuckled their seat belts in the lounge all had bitter faces. They were all good kids with boiling blood. They were so happy to hear that they were going to encircle and suppress pirates, but they didn't expect such an accident to happen halfway. Why are we so unlucky? It's so difficult to come up with a mission, Lin Yin complained to Lin Miaomiao unhappily. Lin Miaomiao stared at her speechlessly. Stop complaining. You're such a cheerful and lively young person, but if you keep going like this, you'll be turning into a bitter melon, Lin Yin pouted. I don't want to be like this either, but don't you think our luck is just terrible? First, we weren't on the mission list, and then after finally sneaking out, we were punished with solitary confinement. Later, the solitary confinement was lifted, but we still have to spend at least 7 hours in the training room every day, and then there was this time. The power system wasn't something that could be paralyzed. A warship rarely had this problem in decades, but it happened to the Shenyu. Aren't they repairing it? Once it's fixed, we can continue on our journey, Lin Miaomiao said nonchalantly. What do you mean we can go on the road once it's fixed? Do you know how difficult it is to fix a broken power system? Lin Yin exclaimed exaggeratedly. By the time we get to Black Evil Star, the battle might be over. Then we'll just be cleaning up the battlefield. Lin Miaomiao's impatience grew, and seeing she was about to ramble on, she interrupted her. But so what? Your complaints won't help. The power system still needs to be fixed. Okay, you're right, Lin Yin said, slumping back down in her chair like a deflated ball, silently praying for the warship to be repaired quickly. I don't want to be cleaning up the battlefield. It wasn't just Lin Yin, most others shared the same sentiment. For a moment, the lounge was filled with an air of anxiety and irritability. Lin Miaomiao felt a little impatient, as if she would be affected by it if she stayed any longer. She stood up and headed for the door. Miaomiao, where are you going? Lin Yin called out from behind, but didn't follow. Go to the kitchen. Chen Jiayu and the others probably haven't started preparing lunch yet. I'll ask them to change the kitchen knife, Lin Miaomiao said without turning back. Everyone was feeling a bit hot-tempered, so a culling dish would be a good option for lunch. Perhaps we could swap the stir-fried loofah with pork for stir-fried bitter melon, the boiled fish for boiled cabbage, the braised pork with minced pork and steamed egg, and finally, the seaweed egg drop soup for winter melon and pork rib soup, and we'd have it all. Because of everyone's raging temper, Lin Miaomiao had completely overhauled the menu. Not far from the lounge, they ran into one Zixi. Seeing Lin Miaomiao coming out alone, he smiled politely and said, "The little cook is going to the bathroom. Why don't you find someone to go with you?" Lin Miaomiao couldn't understand why she needed someone to go to the bathroom, but it didn't matter. She wasn't really going to the bathroom. "I'm going to the kitchen," when Zixi was stunned. Why would she go to the kitchen before 10 o'clock? But the kitchen was under Lin Miaomiao's management, so he had to keep his doubts to himself. "You go," when Zixi said. I have to go to the lounge to calm everyone down. They're all anxious to fight pirates. They must be very uneasy when the warship suddenly has problems, Lin Miaomiao agreed. They are indeed very excited. They said that once the warship is repaired and sets sail again, everyone will have to disturb the battlefield and pick up trash. When Zixi, how can such a situation be allowed to happen? The Shenyu fleet is no longer just cleaning up the battlefield. Feeling a sense of unease, when Zixi waved at Lin Miaomiao with a disinterested look, go to the kitchen if you need anything. Come back to the lounge to play when you're done, Lin Miaomiao casually agreed, leaving Wen Zixi behind and heading upstairs. After handing the new menu to Chen Jiayu, Lin Miaomiao didn't immediately return to the lounge. Instead, she took out a small pot and placed it on the energy stove, frying herself some French fries, popcorn chicken, and lotus shrimp. Still feeling unsatisfied, she added a few skewers of chicken wings and drumsticks. Smells good, Yi Hongwen suddenly appeared at the kitchen door. Why aren't you in the lounge listening to Zixi's inspirational speeches at this hour? Why are you cooking in the kitchen? Aren't you afraid of getting caught? Lin Miaomiao turned off the stove, turned to look at him expressionlessly, and said, Isn't it said that management has privileges? It shouldn't matter if I don't listen to that nonsense. It really doesn't matter, Yi Hongwen admitted, nodding. It's just some nonsense. People with quick minds won't be fooled. As he spoke, Yi Hongwen gradually approached, reached out to pick up a chicken wing and began to chew on it. As the captain, you have the nerve to steal the team members' snacks. Lin Miaomiao was dissatisfied. The battleship is broken. Shouldn't you be supervising and directing them to repair the power system? Yi Hongwen was speechless. He was the captain, but he wasn't omnipotent. He knew nothing about battleship maintenance. Going there would only cause trouble. Besides, the cause of the power system breakdown was not complicated. As soon as the time came, it would naturally be repaired and running again. Don't worry, they all have extensive experience in repairs, and they'll fix it soon, Yi Hongwen said calmly. Soon, when? Don't let it take a day or two to fix it. Lin Miaomiao was actually a little furious. She had risked being punished to sneak onto the ship for this mission, and she didn't want it to be all in vain. No, Yi Hongwen comforted her, it will be fixed by evening. Lin Miaomiao frowned. Could he just act normal when comforting someone? Did he dare to swallow the fries in his mouth first? From an iceberg to a jerk, and then to the funny guy in front of him, what on earth was Yi Hongwen trying to do? Wasn't he afraid that his majestic image would collapse? She was so tired. Someone should come and drag this person away with his completely changed demeanor. Otherwise all her snacks would be eaten up. Lin Miaomiao tried to save her snacks with tears streaming down her face. However, the rescue was not very successful. Most of the fries and popcorn chicken were taken away. The lotus shrimps were left, but she was only left with 2 chicken wings and 2 chicken legs. Throwing the packed snacks into the space button, Lin Miaomiao walked out in silence, feeling upset. If she stayed with this bastard any longer, she was afraid that she would use a kitchen knife to hack him. Thinking about how Yi Hongwen seemed to pinch her hands a few times casually when they were snatching snacks just now, Lin Miaomiao wanted to hack him. Not only did he steal her snacks, but he also tried to take advantage of her. Such a bastard was simply unreasonable. Miaomiao, why don't you sit for a while? Yi Hongwen shouted in a low voice. Didn't you say you didn't want to listen to inspirational stories? I would rather listen to inspirational stories and fall asleep than stay here and be bullied, Lin Miaomiao said angrily. You didn't even go to check on the warship when it broke down. I really doubt whether you arranged this breakdown yourself. Yi Hongwen looked up at the sky. Actually, she hit the nail on the head. Chapter 279, Jiffin. Just as Yi Hongwen had said, the power system was repaired by that evening, and the Shenyu was back underway. However, they had already been delayed for a whole day and would not be able to reach their destination on time. We've already submitted an apology to the military, and the reasons have been explained. There won't be any problems, Luo Cheng said. So, will the rest of the fleet be unhappy about our lateness? Yun Yan pressed. No, Luo Cheng replied quickly. Then, knowing his answer wasn't reliable, he winked mysteriously at Yun Yan. At least they won't show it. Lin Miaomiao understood immediately. Their reason for being late was very valid. The warship had a problem, and repairs had delayed it. It was normal to be late. If the main fleet was unhappy, they would have to keep it to themselves. Just as Luo Cheng had said, the encirclement and suppression had already begun when the Shen Yu arrived at Heishifeng. When Yi Hongwen met with the captains of several fleets, most of them, though looking somewhat grumpy, still managed a forced smile to welcome him. Only one acquaintance glared at him sullenly. Yi Hongwen didn't take it seriously, even politely greeting him. "Captain He, long time no see. How are you?" He Xingming's eyes were about to spit fire. He had never imagined that, after a subtle plot to trick Shen Yu had actually made the mission list, and Fengjia had followed suit. Last time, he'd suffered a heavy loss at Yi Hongwen's hands, losing 5 million credits. Upon returning home, he'd even been warned by his son that his monthly pension had been slashed by half, saying it would take until the 5 million was repaid. After failing to fight his son, He Xingming harbored a deep hatred for both Yi Hongwen and Shen Yu, seeking to teach them a lesson. Then, the opportunity presented itself. Originally, the mission list only included the 5 largest fleets, the top-ranked fleets from each military region. He Xingming had deliberately bypassed the Azure Dragon Legion and, through connections in the Suzaku Legion, had added the Shen Yu fleet to the list. Once the matter was settled, no one could save Shen Yu. Unfortunately, the truth was finally revealed. The Shen Yu fleet's name couldn't be erased, and the Azure Dragon's captain, the captain of the fleet, contacted the military, saying that since they needed to train the lagging fleet, they should include the Fengjia. The Suzaku Legion then quietly added Yin Feng. He Xingming, already on the dangerous mission list, was in a bad mood. Even worse, because Shen Yu was late, the Fengjia, the last-ranked fleet present, was gloriously relegated to the role of pathfinder, becoming cannon fodder. In summary, He Xingming was quite sensible in not pouncing on Yi Hongwen, but not taking action didn't mean he'd let it go. Captain Yi has a powerful backing. He's even late for a military-issued encirclement and suppression mission, He Xingming said sarcastically. The military has confirmed that the Shen Yu experienced power system problems after its jump and is currently stationary for repairs. Why isn't Captain He so well informed this time? Yi Hongwen said with a hint of derision. Or is he delusional, trying to accuse the Shen Yu of indiscipline? He Xingming choked. He dared not say anything more since the military had confirmed everything. He could only sullenly walk away, his head hanging, watching from the sidelines. Captain Lunan of the Yinfeng fleet's eyes flickered as he began to reassess the Shen Yu's capabilities. He had to admit that he had underestimated the enemy this time, acting rashly without thorough investigation, and ultimately getting himself into trouble. Lunan was a very rational person. He didn't blame Yi Hongwen for the outcome, he was simply considering the feasibility of turning the enemy into an ally. After all, he had been the one to strike first, and the enemy's backing was stronger than his. Thinking of this, Lunan chuckled, heroes have always emerged from youth. Captain Yi is truly worthy of being called a prodigy, completely eclipsing us old bones. Captain Lu, you're too kind, Yi Hongwen said calmly. I still have much to learn, so how can I dare compare myself to you seniors? When I encounter something I don't understand, I rely on your help. Lunan had a tough, righteous demeanor, and a refined demeanor. He was a classic example of a seasoned veteran. If Yi Hongwen hadn't known that this mission was entirely his, he would have chosen to befriend such a person. Unfortunately, there are no ifs. Lunan's involvement in this matter meant that he and Yi Hongwen were destined to be on different sides. After greeting everyone present, the conversation turned back to the time before Yi Hongwen arrived. Several participants had intentionally or unintentionally ignored his presence. Yi Hongwen wasn't one for the spotlight, and he didn't mind the other captain's deliberate or unintentional attempts to sideline him. He quietly sat in his seat, awaiting news. The captain of the Yuanfang fleet half-closed his eyes and said, Old He and Old Lu's fleets have been out for nearly 2 hours, and we haven't received any useful information yet. What should we do next? An all-out attack? No, without a target, no matter how many people there are, it's useless. It's easier to fall into a trap. The captain of the Mengjia fleet was cautious and didn't want to take any risks. He Xingming suddenly sneered, why not send out a third wave of searchers? Shen Yu is already here anyway. He didn't feel sorry for his own team members, but rather felt unwilling to accept the situation. Why should the Fengjia fleet do all the hard and dangerous work? Shen Yu should be the real cannon fodder. The Mengjia captain was tempted and said to Yi Hongwen, Captain Yi, how about trooping out with your fleet? Yi Hongwen sneered inwardly. At this moment, he still wanted to send out cannon fodder. Was Captain Meng Jie too cunning or too cowardly? Regardless of the answer, he couldn't possibly agree to this condition. With two groups of people already out there scouting for information, they were likely already exposed. Going out alone at this point would be tantamount to suicide. Captain Liu, Yi Hongwen said coldly, two fleets have already gone out to scout for information, and yet they haven't been intercepted. Don't you think that's a problem? What's the problem? Captain Liu, one of the Mengjia ship, shrugged. Either our encirclement and suppression operation has already been exposed, and they have moved their base. Yi Hongwen paused at this point. He felt that this possibility was a little small, so he continued, or they are waiting for us to continue to investigate in batches, and then defeat them one by one. Captain Yi is right, Captain Jinghong agreed with a serious face, but the former is unlikely. The people of Heishifeng are very arrogant and don't think that they can compete with the warships, then it can only be the latter. Captain Yuanfeng opened his eyes wide, and said as if he suddenly came to life, investigating information can only be done once or twice, but not repeatedly. We can continue to disperse our forces and wait. It's better to act directly. Things did not develop as he expected. He Xingming became anxious and could only say to the two fleet captains who had not spoken yet, "Don't you have any opinions?" Captain Washui glanced at him casually and said seriously, "It's not bad." Captain Fushi immediately agreed, "I think it's good too. I can finish my breakfast crafts early and have a simple meal with my old friends." Chapter 280, Encirclement and Suppression and Progress. At 4 p.m., the deputy captain of the Jinghong fleet signaled a general attack. With the exception of the Shenaiyu fleet, which remained aloft to prevent the Heishifeng forces from escaping, the warships of the remaining 5 fleets formed a line and dived down. After the signal was given, Lunan urgently contacted his deputy captain, instructing them to take to the air and await the main force, lest the Heishifeng forces, desperate enough, attack them first. Meanwhile, He Xingming, who should have been anxious, was perplexed. Why are we all attacking while Shenai remains on guard? With so many of us, there's no way the Heishifeng warships could escape. This isn't just giving them a chance to slack off, He Xingming protested. Captain Ren, are you intentionally shielding Shenai? Captain Ren was Ren Changning, captain of the Jinghong warship. As captain of the Central Army's First Fleet, he naturally assumed overall command of the encirclement and suppression operation. Despite being questioned, Ren Changning showed no sign of displeasure, as he had indeed shown partiality. Firstly, Shenai was also a member of the Central Army, and secondly, she had a favored junior within her. Ren Changning said calmly, "Captain, he seems quite idle. I see the Fengjia men are still charging down. Aren't you afraid of something unexpected happening? Fengjia's soldiers are all brave and forward-thinking. They would never cower in the background and take advantage like some cowards," He Xingming said, patting his chest. Yi Hongwen said indifferently, "I hope so. I hope pirate warships don't escape the Fengjia blockade soon." "Nonsense," He Xingming cried heartbreakingly, the fat on his face trembling. "That's absolutely impossible." However, the facts slapped He Xingming's fat face in the face. After the encirclement and suppression campaign began, warships from several major fleets quickly arrived on the ground and surrounded the Black Evil Wind base. After the routine announcements, seeing that no pirates came out to surrender, the Jinghong fleet launched the first attack. The army showed no mercy against the pirates, unleashing their warships' most powerful assault. Dozens of warships' massive concentrated energy cannons unleashed a deafening roar, yet the Black Evil Wind's forces remained silent. Instead, a thick energy shield firmly protected the base. "The Black Evil Wind's shield is quite substantial," Lunan sighed, his chin tilted. "It's surprisingly able to withstand such a powerful attack," Captain Yuan Feng expressed concern. "This shield should be able to protect the entire planet, but they've narrowed it down to the base. Breaking through it will likely take considerable time and energy. If all the warship's energy was used up on the shield, wouldn't the Black Evil Wind's warships be invincible?" Ren Changning frowned. This was a waste of energy and time, so he said gravely, "Notify your fleet to concentrate your attack on the center of the shield." Dozens of warships, receiving the order, quickly calculated and adjusted their attack angles and targets. After opening fire again, the previously motionless shield finally began to vibrate. "It worked," Liu Wan beamed. "It won't be long before we wipe out the Black Evil Wind group." "Dream on," He Xingming muttered. "If they were so easy to deal with, they wouldn't have dared to so brazenly occupy a planet." Ren Changning was also unsure whether he could completely annihilate the Black Evil Wind. A few days ago, he heard that Li Jingxun had become a level 7 mecha master, while he was still at the peak of level 6. Cracks were already appearing in the shield. It wouldn't be long before a passage was opened. Hongwen, Ren Changming shouted, "Move the two Shenyu warships apart." The main ship lowers slightly. Watch for any warships attempting to escape in the chaos after the shield is breached. Ship 1 must also remain vigilant. If a lone mecha takes off, don't send mecha masters to intercept it. Fire directly from the warships. Although Yi Hongwen didn't understand the meaning behind his words, he still responded in a deep voice and turned to contact Gu Qingheng in the corner. At this point, Yi Hongwen had to admit that having a deputy captain in the fleet was quite convenient, even though he was not on good terms with the deputy captain. Yi Hongwen went to contact the fleet, but Captain Washuan curiously asked Ren Changning, "Why don't you let their mech operators take action? Firing at a mech is such a waste of energy for the warship." "It's because their crews are rubbish and they don't have any high-level mech operators," He Xingming said, never forgetting to defame Shen Yu's reputation. Captain Washuan frowned. He really disliked He Xingming in every way, but in terms of military rank, they were of the same rank, so he couldn't just scold him. Ren Changming was also dissatisfied. He was a very upright person and would directly scold him if he didn't like it, saying, "As a senior, you should act like a senior. Don't attack and slander the juniors casually. People will know that you have bad character." He Xingming was embarrassed and ashamed. Being scolded in front of so many people, he was almost furious and retorted, "I'm telling the truth. Apart from that guy named Ji, their fleet only has a few level 5 mecha divisions. You gave such an order just to protect them." Ren Changming's brows were furrowed. "Even if Fengjia and Chen Yu switched positions, I would give such an order. How is that possible? Captain Ren and I don't have such a good relationship," He Xingming said, turning his head away in disbelief. Ren Changming said, "Before arriving at Heishifen, I received news that Li Jingxun had become a level 7 mecha division." Everyone was stunned when they heard this. There was no need to ask who Li Jingxun was because everyone knew who he was. Li Jingxun, the head of the Black Evil Wind clan, was once a legend within the Federation. A descendant of an aristocratic family from Shaoyin Star, his ancestors had even produced generals. At the age of 7, he demonstrated potential for both S-level physical and mental strength. At 12, he became a first-class mecha pilot. At 14, he skipped a grade and entered Shaoyin Star's second military academy. He graduated early at 16, achieving the rank of 4th-class mecha pilot. This dazzling rising star in the Federation's mecha world, on the verge of accepting an offer from the Jinghong fleet, was suddenly framed for treason by a perpetual enemy, shattering his family. Although Li Jingxun escaped, he was relentlessly hunted. The enemy's influence on Shaoyin Star was so immense that even families desperate for talent hesitated to offer Li Jingxun a helping hand. Ultimately, he fled Shaoyin Star with his few remaining followers, finding refuge on a random, desolate planet. They remained there for over 20 years, and this desolate planet became the Black Evil Wind's base. As time passed, the Li family feud gradually faded, and some began to lament the young prodigy of the Li family. However, things could no longer return to the way they were. Captain Yuan Feng sighed, "What a pity. Such a gifted young man, already a level 7 mecha master before he was 50. If only everyone knew the unspoken meaning. If the Li family had been healthy then, the gifted young man would have followed a normal trajectory and joined the Jinghong fleet, and the Federation would have had another level 7 mecha master under 50. Unfortunately, there were no ifs, and so today they stood on opposite sides, enemies." Chapter 281 The Future Captain's Wife. Several captains aboard the Jinghong flagship lamented the Federation's missed opportunity with a young, level 7 mecha master. Aboard the Shenai, a bustling atmosphere erupted. After receiving its alert mission, the Shenai remained aloft, and the crew gathered in the lounge, awaiting the impending battle and their chance to fight. Unfortunately, what they encountered instead was a stunningly beautiful woman with an oval face and willow-shaped eyebrows, wearing a tight, mini dress made of fiery red. The woman, Liu Jin, had been sent aboard Mengjia's second ship. She had reportedly been ill for several days and needed to recuperate. Since the Mengjia fleet was expected to engage in close combat, the fleet, concerned that she wouldn't be getting enough rest, had sent her to the Shenai. Liu's eye is pretty but not very kind-hearted. As soon as she entered the lounge, she said with disdain, "The space here is too small. Why are there so many people gathered here? The air has become polluted. Those who have nothing to do should go back to their rooms. Luo Chang, who sent her to the lounge, had a dark complexion. He didn't want to agree to Meng Jia's request to let her go on board, but the other party was forcing him to win. He insisted that Liu's eye was easy to get along with and wanted to take over as soon as she came. Is this what they call getting along well? Things have become a foregone conclusion. He can't ask Meng Jia's people to stop fighting and go back to pick up the people. He can only swallow his anger and say, Ms. Liu, our team members are on standby here and may be dispatched at any time. Going somewhere else will delay the assembly time. Please call me Deputy Captain Liu, Liu Jin said arrogantly. Also, I don't think you will have the opportunity to fight with Meng Jia here. Even if you do, you will only be cannon fodder. What's the harm in delaying a little time? Most of the people in the main ship's lounge were young people in their early 20s. How could they bear to have their fleet slandered like this? Someone stood up and said, even cannon fodder is better than deserters. You look ruddy and your mouth is as venomous as a snake. You don't look uncomfortable. I'm afraid you feel unsafe staying on your warship. Meng Jia's people are really unlucky. They actually have such a cowardly deputy captain. Another person laughed. There's nothing we can do. How can a vice captain who got in through the back door be any better? Someone who had heard a little gossip whispered, her father is the captain of Meng Jia, and he wants her to take over, just because she's his precious daughter. Liu Jin's face turned pale. She couldn't understand how such rumors had leaked out. Her father had clearly said it was fine and no one would dare to spread it. Liu Jin's mood worsened. Pointing at the person who had just exposed her, she said to Luo Chang, speaking ill of guests without restraint, is this how you treat guests at Shenyu? A hulking, ugly guy has the nerve to show up. Luo Chang was furious. He dared to attack her personally on their territory. He must have been too comfortable. He sneered, he was just giving his teammates some information about Vice Captain Liu and his background. I don't see anything wrong with that. You're trying to protect this ugly guy. Liu Jin couldn't believe her ears. With her looks and figure, she always had her way with men, but why wasn't it working today? Shut up. You think you are beautiful? Why don't you look at our female team members? There are many prettier than you. In order to prove that he was telling the truth, Luo Cheng pointed at Lin Miaomiao who was in a daze in the corner. There are many beauties in the fleet, but Lin Miaomiao is the only one who can surpass Liu's eye, so she was caught in the crossfire. Because Liu's eye was unwilling to be surpassed, she said with auspicious reasoning, what's good about having a dead face? Could it be that her parents died at home? Looking at her unlucky face, her parents must have died a long time ago. Lin Miaomiao has always kept her distance from people like Liu's eye, so when she came in just now, although she didn't like it, she didn't follow everyone to accuse her, but she didn't expect the flames of war to burn to her. If it was just her own scolding, Lin Miaomiao might not care, but she couldn't remain calm when the attack was directed at her parents. But Lin Miaomiao was not a shrew. She could only stare at Liu's eye and said, Brother Luo, where did you bring this rabies patient from? He bites everyone he sees and you don't know how to restrain yourself. It will be a shame if he breaks his teeth. How dare you scold me? Liu's eye widened her eyes. Believe it or not, I will tell your captain to tell you to get out. Lin Miaomiao frowned. Why did he bring up that guy again? Could it be that he was the one who provoked this bad love affair? He came in and acted like the Empress Dowager, pointing fingers and doing things without any hesitation. He was very arrogant. What do you think? Are you scared now? If you are, then get out of here right now. Liu's eye thought her threat worked, and she continued to drive people away triumphantly, and everyone else, go back to your room and don't come over here before I leave. Can you stop pretending? You're going to be delusional if no one pays attention to you. You think you can act like someone with a scallion stuck in your nose. Lin Miaomiao pulled back her thoughts and fought back. If you have the guts, call our captain and see who he will throw off the ship. Liu's eye was very confident. Don't try to provoke me. You should know that I'm your future captain's wife. He can't throw me off. Now everyone looked at her as if she was crazy. How could their boss possibly look down on such a piece of shit? Besides, it was obvious to everyone that the boss was chasing the little cook. This guy was too self-righteous. Although Lin Miaomiao refused to agree to be Yi Hongwen's girlfriend, they had hugged and kissed, and their relationship naturally became ambiguous. Now someone was saying to her face that she was his future wife. How could she bury it? She refused because she was still angry and a little uncertain, but that didn't mean she would be happy about someone coveting the duck at her mouth. So she stood up with a dull face and said, I'm sorry, the captain didn't say he had a fiancée, but he did have a girlfriend. Unfortunately, his girlfriend is me, Luo Chang, who is already furious, suddenly couldn't hold back. Although Liu Jin was a little silly, she had done the boss a great favor by getting the young cook to personally acknowledge their relationship. This matter had to be told to the boss to make him happy. Luo Chang immediately stretched out his claws towards this communicator and edited a short message to Yu Hongwen. Luo Chang was happy, but Liu Jin was furious. She thought it was only a matter of time before she became Mrs. Yi, but she didn't expect that Yu Hongwen's girlfriend would appear now. She couldn't believe it and shook her head and said, "You must be lying. My dad said that he would discuss our marriage with the Yi family." Lin Miaomiao was speechless. It is not popular for parents to arrange marriages now. She can be so sure about something that has no basis, and she is not afraid of losing face if it fails. She rolled her eyes and thought of Yi's mother who was visiting Shen Yu. She immediately had an idea. Marriage is a matter between two people. His parents will not interfere in their son's private affairs. Besides, his mother seems to like me very much and asked me to call her Yi's mother directly. Liu Jin didn't expect to get such news. Her eyes were crazy with jealousy. "You bitch, I will not forgive you today." Chapter 282, Single or Group Fight. People who are blinded by jealousy usually lose their rationality and even forget some very simple things. Liu Zai is just like this, because she forgot that she was standing on Shen Yu's territory and was very weak and tried to solve the problem with force. Then Liu's eye was stopped. Yun Yan asked her, "Do you want a one-on-one fight or a group fight?" Liu Zai, who has no shortage of suitors and always likes to bully the weak with her numbers, subconsciously chose the familiar answer, "Group fight." Yun Yan smiled proudly, revealing a row of neat little white teeth. "What a coincidence, I also like group fights. Brothers, follow me." As soon as the words fell, several people rolled up their sleeves and walked forward. Among them were men and women. All of them were the more passionate young people in the fleet. "Since you like group fights, then let's play with Deputy Captain Liu." The other team members also cheered. "Beat her. She dared to come and curse our little cook and even wanted to steal our captain. She simply wants to quit her job. Teach her how to behave. Don't rely on your beauty to be arrogant. You look stupid." Liu's eye was dumbfounded. She always led the flower-guarding messengers to teach people a lesson, but why did she turn the tables today? She wanted to give in, but the words on her lips turned into threats involuntarily. "What do you want to do? I tell you, I am Mengjia's deputy captain. Hitting me is a crime of insubordination." Luo Cheng also stepped forward anxiously to stop them. "Stop it, everyone. Although she is not the deputy captain of our fleet, she said rude words and attacked our team members first, but she is also a guest. If she is crippled, no one will dare to visit our fleet in the future." Gu Qingheng, who rushed over after hearing about the dispute in the lounge, suddenly interrupted. "What do you want to do? Even if there is a repair cabin on the ship that no one uses, you can't use such heavy hands." Yun Yan's eyes lit up. In fact, she just wanted to scare Liu Zai. She didn't dare to really do it, for fear of affecting Shen Yu's reputation. But Luo Zhen, the deputy captain, said so, and it would be a shame not to beat her. Besides, no one in a group fight had to kill or maim her. A few minor injuries would be enough. Besides, the deputy captain had been so generous as to leave the repair bay idle, and it would be unfair to not be able to move her limbs. So, Yun Yan lunged at Liu Zai, yelling, "It's unfair. We didn't hide her hard at all. She attacked our teammates first, and we had no choice but to fight back. I just pushed her lightly, not with my fists. The injuries she has are from falling without a firm footing," Zhang Sanbao said, lightly pushing Liu Zai, who was being grabbed and beaten by Yun Yan. Liu Zai, who was being shoved to the ground, was so angry that she almost vomited blood. She had come to the Shen Yu today, taking advantage of Yu Hongwen's absence, not to visit, but to befriend the higher-ups of the Shen Yu fleet and infiltrate Yu Hongwen's circle. But she hadn't expected to achieve her goal, and instead received a beating. Thinking of the culprit who caused her to be beaten, and looking at Yun Yan who was grabbing her and struggling and scratching her private parts that were difficult to open, Liu Jin's eyes showed a look of resentment. Lin Miaomiao, who was excluded by her enthusiastic teammates, accidentally saw it and frowned instantly. Yun Yan was kind enough to help, but she couldn't let the person who avenged her bear the bad reputation of an adult. Besides, that Liu Jin was really annoying, and Lin Miaomiao didn't have a good temper. Of course she wouldn't let go of the opportunity to beat someone up, So she jumped on her and scratched her beautiful face hard. Didn't she think that being beautiful made her superior to others, or didn't she despise others for being tall and thick? Let's see if I don't scratch your face until it turns into a flower. The onlookers didn't know that she was deliberately trying to attract hatred. They just thought that she was defending her boyfriend and really wanted to scratch someone to disfigure their face, so they all cheered. Good job, little cook. You're going to scratch her face until it's all bloody. See if she still has the nerve to come here and snatch your man. Come on, scratch her hard. Don't let her go until she's completely disfigured. Oh, look at how impatient I am. Just looking at it makes me anxious. The little cook's nails are cut too short. I can't even scratch those deep blood marks. That's right. I've been seeing only marks and no blood for a long time. How long will it take to successfully disfigure her? No, my nails are long. I might as well go up and help. With that, the girl with 1-centimeter-long nails actually joined the melee, waving her hands, ready to contribute her own strength. Don't be impulsive. Lin Miaomiao, who was scratching hard, twitched fiercely at the corners of her mouth. She was really on the verge of tears. She was even rushing to do something as hateful as scratching her face to disfigure herself. Her friends were really too enthusiastic. Let me go. Liu's eye was beaten so badly that she had no strength to fight back. She could only scream, "My dad is the captain of Mangjia. If you treat me like this, be careful that my dad will cause trouble for you, Shen Liu." Let's see how you will explain it then, Deputy Captain Liu. Don't make an injustice to me, Yun Yan said while pinching her and pleading for herself. It's normal to fight back when a stranger comes to your door. You can't confuse right and wrong, but you are defending yourself too much. I can sue you in court. Liu's face was distorted with pain. She no longer had the beautiful model she had when she first came in. Lin Miaomiao was getting impatient because she was still stubborn and hadn't forgotten about causing trouble for them, even though she was in so much pain. She changed from using 30% of her strength to 50% of her strength in retaliation, and no longer limited herself to slapping her in the face. After Liu's eye was completely stunned, she couldn't help but beg for mercy. Please let me go. I won't do it again. I'll find someone to take me back right away. Seeing everyone else stunned, Gu Qingheng also said, Stop. Get the customer to the infirmary. Don't get too far, but he was too late to intervene. By then, Liu's eye was battered and bruised, a horrible sight. He had a bad feeling about her injuries. He wondered if they were too serious. What if the repair pod couldn't fix them? Everyone had been enthusiastic during the beating, but when it came time to get her to the infirmary, they all became shy. After a long shove, 2 male guards finally carried Liu's eye to the infirmary, their faces filled with disdain. As Liu's eye was carried away, Gu Qingheng, uneasy, followed her. While the people in the lounge continued to discuss their recent exploits, Lin Miaomiao did not join the discussion. She also had a bad feeling. The wound on that person's face seemed to be quite serious. It would be difficult to help her recover after entering the repair chamber. By then, the scars would not have healed. Even if they deny the beating, the captain of Mangjia would not be stupid enough to believe it. His eyes swept over Yun Yan. She was just a girl from an ordinary family. She was generous and hated evil. It was inevitable that someone would cause trouble for her afterwards. It was not just Yun Yan. Most of the others had ordinary family backgrounds. They could not fight against people like Liu's eye. Lin Miaomiao felt that she had to think of a way to concentrate all the responsibilities on herself. After a long silence, Lin Miaomiao suddenly stood up and clapped his hands and said, Quiet down, everyone. I have something to tell everyone. Chapter 283 Getting into Trouble. The fight had just ended, and everyone was still in a frenzy of excitement. Lin Miaomiao had to shout several times before anyone noticed. Everyone, stop. Little chef wants to talk, Zhang Sanbao yelled, and the lounge finally quieted down. Hey, is little chef planning to give us a little treat tonight? Bai Jin was surprised. She didn't know when it started, or who started it, but with the exception of Liu Kaoyer and a few close friends, everyone started calling Lin Miaomiao little chef. Liu Kaoyer had once spoken up for Lin Miaomiao, saying it was demeaning to be called little chef, but she didn't mind. She didn't consider being a chef shameful, so the term felt endearing. Lin Miaomiao raised her lips slightly, and said to her teammates, who were staring at her eagerly, Don't worry, as long as you're free tonight, there'll be a little treat. Great, everyone cheered, as if they had already confirmed that they would be free that night. Wait, everyone. I'm not talking about the little treat, Lin Miaomiao said again, interrupting their cheers. Just say whatever the little cook wants to say, and then we'll continue celebrating, Bai Jin said with a smile. Lin Miaomiao frowned. Don't worry, it won't take up much of your time. I just want to tell you one thing, when the encirclement and suppression mission is over, when the captain of Mengjia comes to seek justice for his daughter, just say that I was the one who fought back first, and it was me who kept scratching my face. You were just afraid that your companions would be bullied. No, it was obviously me who started it first. How can you put the blame on you? Yuan Yan jumped up and down. I won't do such a disloyal thing. Bai Jin was the second to express her opinion. I won't do it either. She comes to bully the people in our fleet, and she doesn't allow us to teach her a lesson. Then everyone spoke out in support, thinking that since they had done this together, they should share the responsibility and not put it all on her. Zhu Chen, however, grasped the point and asked thoughtfully, Miaomiao, you mentioned her face. Could it be that the injury is serious, possibly disfigured? Lin Miaomiao nodded decisively. It looks quite serious. I doubt the repair chamber can completely fix it. I'm afraid she'll need to undergo a full surgery or buy top-tier repair fluid. Everyone was startled. They hadn't expected the situation to be so serious. If it had just been a beating and healed in the repair chamber, even if Liu's eye complained, it wouldn't have been a big deal. After all, she had been rude first and then attacked. Now that she was disfigured, even if they were right, their argument was somewhat discounted. After all, she was just a woman, and there were 4 or 5 of them who had attacked her, with dozens more just watching and making sarcastic remarks. Why don't we report this to the boss first and see if he has any solutions? Someone suggested. We can't find the boss. Luo Cheng rejected it without hesitation. Now is the critical period for suppressing bandits. Although we are just a fleet on guard, we can't fall behind. Then what should we do? Some of the less courageous ones were already trembling. Her father is the captain. If he really beats her disfigured, he will eat us alive. The person who spoke was just a bystander and did not do anything, but he was there and did not stop it because he was afraid that others would count him as well. Lin Miaomiao was helpless. Wasn't that what she was talking about? What are you afraid of? I've already told you that you're putting all the blame on me. Why don't you just say you didn't dare to stop it? The man burst into laughter and was about to agree, but Zhang Sanbao, who had taken action, cursed him disdainfully. Zhang Xiaohu, why don't you change your name to Zhang Xiaodan? You still want a little girl to take the blame for you? That's right. Yuan Yan looked down on Zhang Xiaohu even more. You're not afraid of me, the one who started it, but you, the bystander, are shaking like this. You're really a loser. Zhang Xiaohu's eyes suddenly turned red. He admitted that he was a coward, but he really couldn't bear the consequences of being kicked out of the fleet. Lin Miaomiao frowned. She didn't like timid people, but she also understood that some people were timid because they had concerns and because they had no one to rely on. Yan Yan, Lin Miaomiao shouted, don't force him like this, but he is so disloyal. Even if he didn't do it, he didn't stop it. Yuan Yan curled her lips in displeasure. We are teammates who spend every day together, and he often eats the food you cook. Zhang Xiaohu lowered his head in shame. He wanted to say that he would not shirk responsibility, but the words came to his lips but he couldn't say them. He just whispered, I'm sorry. Okay, Luo Cheng said, the results haven't come out yet, you don't need to worry too much now. And Miaomiao is right. If Liu's eye is really disfigured later, you can just put the blame on her. She can bear it. Lin Xianhao, who came running after being notified by Ren Jiao, rolled his eyes at him fiercely. Xiao Chengzi, you are really rude. Luo Cheng chuckled, I have no choice. The little cook has a background and a reason to fight back. If that old guy Liu Wan really wants to take action against her, the boss will definitely not agree. Lin Xianhao chuckled. What if the boss is worried about the tension between the fleets getting too bad, and Miaomiao gets wronged? That's impossible. Luo Cheng replied without hesitation. I hope so, Lin Xianhao said non-committally, then turned to Yuan Yan. Listen to Miaomiao. This is something our Lin family can handle, but Yuan Yan was still hesitant. She was the one who started the fight. Lin Miaomiao grew impatient. Yan Yan, you're so nagging. Just do what I tell you. Don't forget, we're friends. You're only hitting because of me. Don't let this bring trouble to your family. Yuan Yan was speechless. It's not like she hadn't gotten into trouble before, but it was still a struggle for her family to cope. Thinking of her father, who couldn't straighten his back for long periods of time. Every time she got into trouble, she fell silent. Not long after, the two men who had taken Liu's eye to the infirmary returned. Everyone gathered around them, asking about the situation. Although they didn't understand why everyone was so concerned about the person they had just beaten, the two men told the truth. It turned out that although Lin Yin and the others had taken action, they did not dare to use any heavy hands. Liu's eye suffered only minor injuries, and only the face was more serious, because the nails of the girl who attacked her later were extremely sharp, and she had scratched several grooves on her face. The repair fluid on the ship could not repair it in a short time. It is said that staying in the repair cabin for 2 hours will only form scabs. I'm afraid we need to buy top-level external trauma repair fluid to recover, the two said gloatingly. Lin Miaomiao already knew that the repair fluid in the fleet's infirmary was mainly used to treat internal injuries, because the mecha soldiers fought inside the mecha, and most of the injuries they suffered were internal. It's a pity that we are on the battleship and can't receive Interstellar Express, otherwise we would buy it now for her to use, Ren Jiao said a little discouraged. However, Lin Miaomiao said to the girl with long nails who had just done it, "Hurry up and cut your nails before she wakes up." It was so chaotic just now that she must not have seen you clearly. She won't be able to find you after cutting her nails. Can I not do that? The girl said reluctantly. I finally grew them so long. Lin Miaomiao was speechless. The nails can grow again after they are cut off, but you will regret it if you are bitten by a mad dog. Well, this makes so much sense. No matter how reluctant she was, the girl still endured the pain and cut her nails. After cutting her nails, she felt indignant and couldn't help cursing. I hope she will marry a fool with a crooked mouth and squinting eyes in the future, so that she will never have face. Everyone was silent. It's so vicious, but they like it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Tip-Off. Li Jingxun never imagined his death would be so early, and so tragic. He could have escaped, but a moment of weakness had cost him his life. The moment the shield was breached, the 12 Black Evil Wind warships launched a coordinated attack, bursting through. But Li Jingxun was not aboard. He had maneuvered his mech beneath one, hoping to escape during the chaos. The Federation's actions had been extremely covert. By the time he received the news, the enemy was already blocking his path, leaving him with no escape. Learning that the forces encircling him included several of the Federation's top 5 fleets, Li Jingxun knew things were not going well. The Black Evil Wind were formidable. If he had fought alone, he was confident they would be no match for the Jinghong fleet. However, it was clear that they would not play fair with pirates. The Federation was well prepared, and Black Evil Wind was doomed. Understanding this, Li Jingxun abandoned his futile resistance and carefully planned a path to escape. Rushing out on a warship would be a significant threat. Li Jingxun didn't want to gamble on whether the warship would have enough energy to attack their fleet after breaking through its shield, so he didn't plan to board the warship. This was originally known only to a few of his closest confidants, but when everyone boarded the ship, his newly adopted son insisted on accompanying him, saying, "I only feel safe when I'm with my adoptive father." This sense of security wasn't simply about escaping on Li Jingxun's warship, it was also about the fact that women were scarce in the interstellar age, and even fewer in the Black Evil Wind. Therefore, attractive men were highly sought after. Li Jingxun's newly adopted son had actually been purchased from a small pirate group not long ago. Initially, he was just a male concubine, but after a short time together, he was captivated by the young man named Long Jiuwei. Not only did he dote on him, he even made an exception and adopted him as his son. In a pirate group, the distinction between an adopted son and a male concubine is stark. A male concubine is merely a toy for entertainment, but an adopted son carries the status of a successor, as Li Jingxun has no biological children of his own. Long Jiuwei's successful comeback was initially unacceptable to many in the pirate group, especially the adopted sons Li Jingxun had taken in 2 years ago. With one more person vying for the position of leader, their chances of success were diminished. However, somehow, several of Long Jiuwei's brothers, who had once held strong hostility towards him, gradually became his allies. The disapproval within the pirate group gradually faded, and instead, they began praising him as a young prodigy, emulating the former leader's demeanor. The reason was simple. Long Jiuwei had leapt from a second-level mecha pilot to a fourth-level mecha pilot in just a few months, a talent worthy of being called a genius. However, even with his prowess, there were still many who coveted him. He possessed a face more beautiful than a woman's. With Li Jingxun by his side, no one dared to act rashly. However, alone on a warship, amidst such chaotic and precarious conditions, there was no doubt that there would be many who would try to provoke him. Therefore, for his own safety and to avoid being bullied, it was natural for Long Jiuwei to cling closely to Li Jingxun. Li Jingxun initially had the fortitude to refuse. But after much pleading, and remembering their relationship as more than just a foster father and son, he decided it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring him along, so Long Jiuwei boarded his mech. As a level 7 mech pilot, he could survive for a long time even in space in a mech, thanks to its exceptional resilience. This was the reason he dared to escape and won. The battle was imminent, and within moments of Black Evil Wind's 12 warships launch, most were reduced to smithereens. Li Jingxun's ship, nestled in a blind spot, was relatively unscathed. With the warship's energy supplies nearly depleted and the pirates unwilling to waste further, the mech pilots launched. With a swarm of mechas filling the air, Li Jingxun prepared to flee. However, before escaping, he prepared a gift for the Federation. He contacted a trusted confidant via video link, asking him to fire while the mechas were fighting. That's not a good idea. Our brothers are here too, the confidant hesitated. While mechas aren't as sturdy as warships, if truly skilled, they can still survive a warship attack. This is because the energy required to fire a warship's guns is staggering, and each warship has a limited capacity. If the limit is exceeded, explosions, hurricanes, and other factors can cause it to explode. Therefore, attacking a single mech division is a waste of a warship's energy, as it's a waste of resources. It's an unwritten rule on the battlefield that warships won't attack mech divisions. Artillery fire is blind and won't avoid its own people. Concerned about the safety of their comrades, warships naturally won't fire at mech engagement zones. But now, Li Jingxun has thrown his weight behind him. His trusted aides are still aboard the few remaining warships, and he doesn't care about the lives of others. He even believes this might preserve the capital for his comeback. Second brother, in a quarter of an hour, you will fire at the mech engagement zone, then take advantage of the chaos to escape and head towards Shaoyin Star, Li Jingxun instructed. As for the spare quarter of an hour, that was his time to escape. He believed that he could get away with his own skills. Next, Li Jingxun dodged among the sea of mechas, searching for an opportunity to escape without leaving a trace. He didn't notice that Long Jiuwei, who was looking at him with admiration, was playing with his communicator and took the opportunity to send a short message. At this moment, Lin Miaomiao, who was worried about whether to admit his mistake or complain after the battle, received an unfamiliar message. After casually clicking it and reading it, Lin Miaomiao jumped in shock. How could this be? Li Jingxun is too cruel. The team members in the lounge who had been drooping their heads all perked up. Wasn't that Li Jingxun the boss of Yishifeng? Why did the little cook suddenly mention him? Before anyone could ask, Lin Miaomiao addressed Luo Chang. Brother Luo, I just received a report that Li Jingxun is infiltrating the Mecha division and planning to escape this planet. He's even ordered Black Evil Wind's underling to fire into the Mecha combat zone in about 10 minutes. What did you say? Luo Chang leaped to his feet, his face pale. Where did this news come from? Is it reliable? Lin Miaomiao thought for a moment and replied, it should be reliable. The person who sent the message is Long Jiuwei, a former waiter at my restaurant. He's quite honest. He said he was captured by pirates 5 months ago. His communications were monitored, making it difficult to contact anyone. Today, after learning about the pirates' plans, he didn't know who to notify, so he thought of my number. Although she was a little skeptical about Long Jiuwei's memory of her number, she didn't dare to conceal such a significant piece of news. If it was true, the Federation would suffer greatly. Although Luo Cheng had some doubts about the reliability of the message, he still notified Yi Hongwen, noting that the authenticity of the message was uncertain, but time was pressing and he didn't have time to confirm it. Yi Hongwen was silent for a few seconds, then decided to take precautions regardless of whether it was true or not. He said, tell Gu Qinghang the news. Pay special attention. If there's chaos, look for any mechas charging into space. If there are any, bomb them directly. Don't save energy. Chapter 285 Tragic. Yi Hongwen hung up the video call, walked back to the cockpit of the Jinghong with a cold face, and said to He Xingming, who was slandering Shen Yu bluntly, "Can you save some of your IQ? If you are too idle, you might as well consider how all people should escape if the pirate warships fire at the mecha divisions. You're overthinking. It's a common practice that warships don't fire at the mecha division's battlefield." He Xingming rolled his eyes at him. They had already torn their faces apart, so there was no need to be polite anymore. "You also said that it's just a convention, not a rule," Ye Hongwen said mockingly. "My people just received a message saying that Li Jingxun is going to escape in a level 7 mecha, and he also asked his confidants to bomb the mecha division that is in the melee in 10 minutes. Impossible," He Xingming exclaimed. "Unless he doesn't want to be in the Federation anymore, how dare he make such a decision? This is really not good news." Ren Shangming frowned and said to Ye Hongwen, "Is the news reliable?" Ye Hongwen said lightly, "There is no time to verify whether it is reliable or not. It depends on whether everyone believes it or not." Ren Shangming had a headache. This was the first time he encountered such a situation, and he had no time to judge whether it was true or not. He could only say helplessly, "Since we have received the news, we must find a solution and a way to save people as soon as possible. Captain Ren, don't listen to his nonsense. I haven't heard of anyone who dares to do this." He Xingming was very uncooperative. "He just made up some news and used it to scare us. Do you think I'm stupid? But what if it's true?" Ren Shangming asked impatiently. "Captain He, can you take responsibility for the consequences?" He Xingming was speechless. Of course he couldn't. If this news were true, their fleet would be annihilated. "No objection," Ren Shangming sneered inwardly. He ran away when faced with a responsibility. He almost wanted to slaughter this pig. "No. I'll do whatever Captain Ren says," He Xingming said, shutting up, but making it clear that he was only listening and not cooperating. With the chatterbox dealt with, there was no time left for further discussions, so Ren Shangming simply gave the order, "Spread out as far as possible. Don't rush to eliminate the enemy yet. Run as far as you can, just avoid the pirate warships. If you're near the shield, go directly through the gap and hide where the shield is intact." Without a word, the captains of the Wushewang and other fleets rushed to inform their men. Jinghong's captain also passed the captain's instructions, but He Xingming hesitated to carry them out. When asked why, he replied confidently, "We have so few members in our fleet to begin with. If we each run off in different directions, we'll be picked off by the pirates one by one. It's better for us to stay together and look out for each other." Ren Shangming's face darkened. They were on a mission together, so of course they had to look out for each other. He Xingming's words simply categorized the other members of the fleet as irrelevant. "You don't care about the safety of your team members," Ren Shangming said angrily. "I order you to pass the news to your deputy captain immediately." Under normal circumstances, He Xingming would not dare to refute him, but today his mind suddenly jumped and a few words blurted out. "Hey, Captain Ren, you are mistaken. Although your Jinghong is the leader of all warships, our positions are still equal. It is not appropriate for you to order me." Ren Shangming was so angry that he was speechless, but He Xingming looked at Ye Hongwen provocatively, as if he had won a battle, and said triumphantly, "You mobilized a large force for a piece of news you heard from nowhere, and you don't mind wasting time." After all, they had some friendship, and Lunan couldn't help but remind him, "Whether the news is true or not, we can't afford to gamble on that one. It's better to waste some time than to gamble with the lives of our team members." He Xingming was unmoved. None of the Jinghong fleets have received any news. It's impossible for Shen Yu to be more informed than them. Ye Hongwen bristled. He was disgusted by such self-righteousness, the kind that played with the lives of his crewmates. He said coldly, "Captain He, you're so confident now. I hope you'll shoulder your own responsibilities if anything goes wrong later, and not shift the blame onto the vice captain." This reminded He Xingming that he was now on Jinghong's territory, where every word and action was being scrutinized by the other captains. If nothing went wrong, it would be fine, but if something did, he wouldn't even be able to shirk responsibility. Seeing the battlefield dispersed on the surveillance screen, with only his crew still huddled in the center, He Xingming finally reached for his communicator. But just as he dialed in, several pirate warships suddenly opened fire on the center of the battlefield. After a deafening explosion, the sky erupted like a dazzling display of fireworks, instantly dissipating many mechas in the flames. Some, more fortunately, were swept to the periphery by the aftermath. "It's over." He Xingming's mind suddenly went blank. His order hadn't even been delivered, but most of his team members had already disappeared in the explosion. It was too late to regret. Ren Xiangning's eyes were red. Although those weren't his team members, they were also soldiers of the Federation, the future and hope of the Federation. Because of their superiors' arrogance, they were left here. Lei Ting, pass my order down. Open fire on the pirate warships with all your might. Don't worry about energy. Leave them all here to avenge our fallen brothers, Ren Xiangning roared, clenching his fists. Understood, Lei Ting gritted his teeth and responded. Yi Hongwen pursed his lips. He really wanted to beat up the annoying person next to him, but he suppressed the impulse and turned to report to Gu Qingheng. Let the #1 ship search for Li Jingxun's whereabouts and make sure he stays on this planet forever. The main ship will fully cooperate with the Jinghong fleet to destroy the pirate fleet. Didn't they say the pirates wouldn't take action in 10 minutes? Why did they do it earlier? He Xingming finally found a reason to shirk responsibility. This is because Shen Yu's information was inaccurate. It's not my fault, however, no one was willing to pay attention to him. Everyone knew exactly how the incident happened, and it was too late to shirk responsibility. He Xingming panicked and went to pull the busy Ren Xiangning. Captain Ren, you have to do justice for me. It's not my fault that they have inaccurate information. Ren Xiangning did not do justice for him. Instead, he punched him in the fat face. Don't think about those things. After the mission is over, you just wait for the summons from the military court. Military court? He Xingming was stunned. He had no desire to set foot in that place, but he knew he couldn't escape this time. Thinking of the possibility of indefinite imprisonment awaiting him, he couldn't help but collapse to the ground, not even paying attention to the incessantly ringing communicator. Captain Washuang stepped over him expressionlessly and said to Ren Xiangning, we should inform the Fenji as deputy captain of the situation. I'm afraid he will be needed to deal with the aftermath. Ren Xiangning nodded, glanced at Yi Xingming, who was unable to get up, with disgust, and said to Lei Ting, contact the Fenji main ship and inform their deputy captain of the situation truthfully. Chapter 286, The Hero's Strange Road. When the Federation's mecha divisions were spreading out, Li Jingxun also realized that something was wrong. Just as he was about to suspect that someone around him had leaked the secret, Long Jiuwei shouted in surprise, Godfather, look, why are they all running away? Li Jingxun looked back at him, and seeing that the surprise on his face did not seem fake, he reduced his suspicion by 3 points, but still said tentatively, I don't know, maybe someone leaked the news? No, I don't believe it. Long Jiuwei's face turned pale in an instant, and he kept shaking his head and said, Second in command would not do this, he is so loyal to Godfather. I don't believe it either, Li Jingxun said meaningfully, but I can't figure out who else knows this news besides him. Long Jiuwei's heart skipped a beat. He must be suspicious of himself. No, the time is not right yet. He can't be wary of him, otherwise it will be difficult to deal with next. And me? I informed the others right under your nose, Long Jiuwei joked, feigning a lightheartedness. But I have to search the interstellar network for their captain's contact number, still being naughty at this hour? Aren't you afraid of losing your life here today? Li Jingxun was actually amused. But he also felt a sense of relief. Long Jiuwei was an orphan and young, so he had no chance to get to know the people in the fleet. After being brought into the Black Evil Wind, he hadn't had a communicator for a long time. Only after he was adopted as his adopted son did he get one, but it still restricted internet access, only allowing video calls or text messages, making it impossible to meet strangers. With my godfather here, I'm not afraid. But should we contact the second in command and have them take action in advance? Long Jiuwei said, looking worried. I'm still young and want to become a young 7th level mecha pilot like my godfather. I absolutely can't die here. Li Jingxun was relieved. Everyone cherishes their lives. When Long Jiuwei was sold to the Black Evil Wind as a male concubine, he had made a fuss, but in the end, he had compromised to save his life. He could endure such humiliation just to save his life. He was definitely not the one who tipped off. Li Jingxun's suspicions faded, and he contacted his trusted confidants. Boss, second in command was puzzled. Should he be looking for a chance to escape? Why would he still have time to look for him? Li Jingxun didn't rush to speak. Instead, he looked at second in command again and again, making sure he had no other expression except confusion. Then, with a serious look on his face, he said, Second in command, do you notice anything wrong? Second in command was puzzled. What's wrong? Aren't those mechas fighting outside too scattered? They're getting farther and farther away from your warships, almost out of range, Li Jingxun reminded him. Second in command looked up at the surveillance footage and said uncertainly, "No? There are still many mechas. Furthermore, mechas are very mobile in combat, with one chasing the other. It's normal for them to run a little further away. Could they just stay where they are and endure it if they can't win?" Li Jingxun was nearly vomiting blood in anger. A smart man like him certainly wouldn't want to use overly clever subordinates as his confidants, but rather cultivate those who were more loyal. But now he realized that loyalty alone was useless and couldn't save his life. "Didn't you see that it was all the Federation's mecha divisions running out?" Li Jingxun reminded him, almost gritting his teeth. "Yeah, that's really the case," the second-in-command said excitedly. "It seems our people are quite powerful. They can beat them all to flee." Well, even after being reminded of this, he still didn't come to his senses. Li Jingxun didn't know what to say. He could only say weakly, "Second brother, fire the cannon in 2 minutes. Use the most powerful bombardment, and then escape immediately." That being said, he still didn't hold out much hope for the second-in-command to successfully escape. "I understand," the second-in-command responded without hesitation, then hesitated. "Should I notify the brothers to retreat to the ship first?" "No," Li Jingxun instinctively shouted to stop him. Only when he noticed the doubt in the second-in-command's eyes did he slow down his tone. "It's not that I don't want to save the brothers, but time is running out. There are so many Federation warships. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid we won't even be able to save the brothers on board." The second-in-command, never one to hold his own, fell silent upon hearing this, silently turning off his video feed and keeping an eye on the time. Li Jingxun breathed a sigh of relief and began to break out upwards. He didn't know if it was just bad luck today, but the mechas kept intercepting him. He had thought he'd be out in 2 minutes, but after 2 minutes, he was still surrounded by the mechas. Seeing the situation was not good, Li Jingxun wanted to send the second-in-command another video call to ask for more time, but he was surprised when Long Jiuwei, who was sitting next to him, suddenly screamed. He instinctively turned around and was met with a cloud of powder, and his eyes stung. "What did you spill?" Li Jingxun roared, covering his eyes. "Sorry, Godfather, I accidentally spilled the pepper," Long Jiuwei said in a panic, but he pulled a folding fruit knife from his pocket. Li Jingxun frantically asked, "Long Jiuwei, why are you doing this to me? I've been so kind to you." Though in agony, Li Jingxun understood he had been ambushed. Closing his eyes, he reached out to grab the victim, but his mental focus relaxed, and he forgot to control the mecha. The unmanned mecha plummeted downwards at a rapid speed. At that moment, the second-in-command launched an attack, a fierce barrage that shattered everything except the explosion-proof cabin. "You deserve it," was Li Jingxun's final thought, followed by a sharp pain in his chest, where Long Jiuwei's folding fruit knife had pierced his heart. "You're being nice to me, so you're forcing me to be your male lover," Long Jiuwei sneered. "If you had adopted me as your adopted son from the beginning, I wouldn't have treated you like this. Do you think you're getting your retribution now?" No one was there, because Li Jingxun's breathing had stopped, and he didn't care. He hadn't thought of asking for an answer. The surveillance screen had gone black, and Long Jiuwei could feel the mecha cabin falling down at a very fast speed. If he fell down like this, he would either die or become a vegetable, but he was not afraid at all. Long Jiuwei was not afraid of death, but he did not like to leave alone. If he died, he would take someone with him. It would be nice to avenge himself, but for some reason, he suddenly thought of that beautiful girl with an expressionless face. After trying every possible way to get her contact number, he sent her a text message today for the first time. Fortunately, she received it. His memory returned to their first meeting. The girl, eyes wide and face blank, had said to him, "Are you the Zairoju? It's a nice name, and you're a nice person. Keep up the hard work." It was just a simple remark, a boss's affirmation of his subordinate, but he still harbored an undue hope. If only she could remember who she was, how wonderful it would be. Bang! The metropod plummeted from the sky, slamming heavily against the protective shield before bouncing back and flying off into the distance. Long Jiuwei, unable to hold on, fell into darkness. Chapter 287. The battle is over. The pirate warship's opening fire destroyed numerous mechas, but it also awakened the resisting pirates. Those who had been chasing the Federation's mechas were stunned. Realizing what had happened, they dejectedly ceased their resistance. Death was inevitable, but the ruthless actions of their own comrades only added to their grief, weakening their resolve. They could only watch in daze as the warships converged and destroyed the few remaining pirate warships. With all their warships destroyed, the surviving pirates signaled their surrender and, as a gesture of sincerity, even landed on the ground, dismounting and distancing themselves from their mechas. The swift capture of the Black Evil Wind was something no one had initially anticipated. While the cost was high, with nearly half the Fengia fleet's mechas killed, the military was nonetheless pleased with the outcome. Compared to previous casualties, this one wasn't as disastrous. Furthermore, whereas previous raids had resulted in heavy casualties and failures, this one was a resounding victory, completely eradicating the Black Evil Wind pirate group. But the military's delight didn't mean He Xingming wouldn't be held accountable. In their view, if he hadn't insisted on refusing to follow everyone's advice and move his crew out of range of the pirate fleet, the cost of their encirclement would have been much less. He Xingming was naturally unconvinced. Initially panicked, but then, seeing the pirates surrender after their men's disregard for their safety, he began to complain. If our Fengia men weren't there to distract the pirates, and the pirate warships had no mechas within range, they wouldn't have opened fire. And if they hadn't, how could anyone have surrendered? Ren Chengning chuckled in anger. So you think you're not only innocent, but you also believe you've performed a great service. Even if he agreed, He Xingming wasn't foolish enough to speak out loud. He could only silently refute it, but said bitterly, because of my negligence, so many members of the fleet have been killed. I'm deeply saddened. Well, that's good to know. Remember to file a report of apology when you return. Turning yourself in might even mitigate your responsibility, Liu Wan said gloatingly. Stay away from me. Don't interfere if this matter has nothing to do with you. He Xingming glared at him unhappily. Don't think you can step on me just because I'm down and out. Be careful that you might end up in tragedy, Liu Wan said complacently. Captain He, you're worrying too much? I didn't do anything wrong in this mission, and the casualties of my team members were very small. Unlike you, I guess you're going to lose your position as captain. He Xingming glanced at him coldly and was too lazy to pay attention to him. He sent a message to the deputy captain of Fengia, asking them to apply for docking with the Jinghong, and then prepared to go back. It was very uncomfortable to stay on the Jinghong. Now that the encirclement was over, it would be better to go back to the ship. Escape, Liu Wan lamented loudly behind him. And what about the families of those innocent mech pilots who lost their lives? If they knew their loved ones could have escaped, but were killed because of the captain's willfulness, wouldn't they want to kill the culprit? He Xingming paused, his body stiffening slightly as he made his way back to the warship. He didn't have to worry about the families of the fallen crew members for now. They weren't here, after all. But the surviving crew members would likely resent him. He could already imagine the cold stares he'd receive upon returning to the Fengia. He Xingming shuddered, recalling the cold look the deputy captain had given him when he'd video-called him to dock with the warship. After He Xingming left, Yi Hongwen and the others also returned to their own ships. The battle was over, and there was no point in staying here. It was better to return to the main ship and wait for news. It's worth noting that Li Jingxun wasn't among those who surrendered, but Shen Yu was certain no one had escaped, so he was likely dead. Perhaps they were reduced to smithereens by their own artillery fire, Luo Cheng speculated. That artillery fire was quite intense, when Zixi disagreed. He's a level 7 mech pilot. While the situation was a bit chaotic, there's still hope of escape. A level 7 mech is more robust than an ordinary mech, especially the mech pod. As long as a mech pilot can evade attacks skillfully, survival is a given. Upon learning of this speculation, Ren Chengning decided to dispatch a search. Since this possibility had been suggested by Shen Yu, and her men were on standby, the task naturally fell to her. When Zixi, who had first suggested it, became the leader of the search team, scouring the entire planet to ensure that no pirates had escaped. The Shen Yu crew lamented the outcome, saying, "It's truly tragic. Not only can't they fight, but they're also being forced to act as search engines." However, they were the ones who first brought up the idea, and they couldn't backtrack and claim it was nonsense. Furthermore, they'd already caused trouble, disfiguring the uninvited guests. Feeling guilty, they didn't dare to protest to Yi Hongwen. Yi Hongwen, braced for the crew's complaints, was surprised. Why are they so willing to go searching? He had returned to the Shen Yu prepared to hear the crew's complaints and grievances. After all, they'd been eager to participate in the pirate raid after hearing it was going to be a fierce battle, only turned up on the ship waiting for orders. Zhao Cheng couldn't help but chuckle. Of course they're willing to go searching. If they weren't embarrassed to face you after causing trouble, they wouldn't have bothered to go looking for someone. Trouble? Yi Hongwen's eyes narrowed. What kind of trouble could they cause on a warship? Could they possibly dismantle it? Of course, such a thing couldn't happen. If it involved a warship, Zhao Cheng wouldn't be so relaxed. It's just that there wasn't much trouble to cause aboard. Come to think of it, Captain, this is related to you, Zhao Cheng gloated. It's also related to the little cook, Yi Hongwen, not wanting to be kept in suspense, pressed coldly. What is it? If you don't tell me, I'll have you disembark and help find someone. Zhao Cheng's face fell. He tried to reason with his boss. You can't do that. I'm the fleet's lead pilot. If the warship needs to be launched and I'm away, it'll be a waste of time. That's okay. Your co-pilot seems capable of taking over, Yi Hongwen said calmly. He had added 2 co-pilots to the Shenyu to train more pilots, so that the warships in the warehouse would be repaired and no one would know how to operate them. Those warships were spoils of war during the fleet's campaign against pirates. They had been stored in the warehouse because the Shenyu fleet was small and didn't need so many warships. But next year's graduation season, those warships would probably be put to use. You're destroying the bridge, Zhao Cheng was practically crying. How could the once wise captain become so unreasonable, actually threatening him, a diligent pilot? No, as an ambitious and idealistic pilot, he absolutely could not succumb to evil forces. Having made up his mind, Zhao Cheng returned to the main console and sat down, his mouth tightly shut. Chapter 288 Neither gives in. Having watched He Xingming's antics, Liu Wan returned to the Mengjia's cockpit, beaming. He told his deputy, Zhuang Wenming, although some crew members were seriously injured today, the mission went smoothly. We should celebrate. Let's have the kitchen prepare a feast tonight. Zhuang Wenming looked troubled. The mission was successful and no crew members died, which was a good thing. However, he had something serious to say that would definitely anger the captain, and he wasn't sure if he would be pissed off. Even if it was difficult, he still had to say what he had to say. Zhuang Wenming hesitated for only half a minute before decisively reporting, Captain, something's happened to Lieutenant Liu. Liu Wan's smile faltered. What happened to Zixi? What happened to her? Zhuang Wenming sighed. She was assaulted by Shen Yu's men. She has facial injuries. They say the repair chamber can't fix them. We need to buy some top-grade repair fluid. Liu Wan breathed a sigh of relief. A facial injury wasn't a big deal, and it could be treated, so it wasn't too bad news. He was just puzzled by the fact that his daughter had been assaulted by Shen Yu's men. How did Zixi get injured? Wasn't she resting on the second ship? Liu Wan asked. Originally, she was, but then she got bored and said she wanted to go check out the Shen Yu. Zhuang Wenming's face turned a bit strange. Liu's eyes beating was due to her own impudence. She insisted on going aboard someone else's ship, complained about everything, and finally claimed to be the future wife of the Shen Yu captain. This had provoked the legitimate girlfriend and resulted in a severe beating. The fact that several people only disfigured her was a clear sign of mercy. Zhuang Wenming pondered this, but didn't dare to voice it. Although he disliked Liu's eye, he wasn't foolish enough to criticize his daughter in front of his superiors. Instead, he recounted the story told by the Shen Yu's deputy captain, who had sent the person back. Liu Wan felt a twinge of pain after hearing this. Judging by the course of events, his daughter had truly deserved a beating. But he only had one child, and they couldn't even have IVF, so he couldn't bear to let her suffer. After thinking for a while, Liu Wan decided to check on his daughter's current condition before deciding what to do next, so he asked, "Where's Zixi now?" "On the second ship." "No," Zhuang Wenming denied, "she is on the Mengjia. She said she wanted to go back to her room to rest for a while, and the captain will ask you to find her when he comes back." The rest was fake, and the fundamental reason was that she was too embarrassed to see people. Zhuang Wenming smiled secretly. In fact, when Liu Zai was just sent back, she had no intention of going back to the room to rest, but instead aggressively gathered people to go to the Shenyu for revenge. However, the Shenyu did not accept the request for the battleship to dock at all. Liu Zai was furious and clamored for a battleship with the Shenyu, but the captain flatly refused and scolded her. The Mengjia fleet is a Federation fleet, not your Liu family's private fleet. You're actually thinking of killing each other with the Shenyu fleet. Are you crazy? Fighting on the Shenyu wouldn't work, and her attempts at a battleship were met with a barrage of insults. Liu Zai was furious, but she had no other options. She couldn't take her anger out on the captain, either. The battleship held a special place in the fleet, maneuvering it through space with ease. If she offended him too much, she might end up in an asteroid belt on a mission. For her own safety, she decided not to offend the captain. So, scolding him was a way of giving the captain face. If pushed too hard, she might get a beating. The Mengjia captain was a bit headstrong. Having suffered a setback in the cockpit and unable to seek revenge, Liu Zai could only retreat to her room for sleep. I'll go check on her. Wen Ming, you return to the cockpit and keep watch. The military has already dispatched energy pipes from the nearby fleet. Be careful not to let any of the other fleets snatch them away, Liu Wan instructed in detail. I understand, Zhuang Wenming nodded, watching his captain go upstairs before hurriedly heading back to the cockpit. Meanwhile, Liu Wan had just reached his daughter's door and was about to knock when his communicator rang. He opened it and his face darkened. The person who had caused his daughter's injury had come calling. After the video link was connected, Liu Wan angrily shouted, Captain Yi, I thought you were a principled young man, but look at what your crew has done. They've disfigured my daughter. I tell you, even if you apologize, I won't forgive you. As for why Liu Wan naturally assumed Yi Hongwen was an apology, it was obvious. Shen Yu's men had their reasons for attacking, but disfiguring someone was no small matter. Unfortunately, fantasy is just fantasy, because Yi Hongwen did not come to apologize, but to complain. I don't know what you, Captain Liu, said to your daughter that made her misunderstand that she was my fiancée. I only know that because of her nonsense, my girlfriend is angry and refuses to admit that we have a relationship, Yi Hongwen accused without blushing. I hope you can make a public apology. My daughter was beaten and her face was disfigured, and you actually want us to make a public apology. Liu Wan blushed. Isn't that a bit too much? Yi Hongwen said coldly. You came uninvited and spoke rudely to our team members, and made up false news to cause chaos. In the end, you even attacked my girlfriend. You deserve to be beaten. By the way, it is said that she is my future captain's wife. Is it Captain Liu's intention? Liu Wan froze. His daughter fell in love with Yi Hongwen the first time she met him. She took the initiative to look for him but always ran into obstacles. She came back crying like a tearful person. He couldn't bear it, so he comforted her and said that he would help her get her wish. In the future, she would be the captain's wife of Shen Yu. He had assumed this would be easy to accomplish, as Yi Hongwen was a highly ambitious man, hell-bent on promoting Shen Yu. If offered an olive branch, he would undoubtedly accept it. However, after He Xingming's provocation was met with backlash, Liu Wan had given up hope. Anyone who could secure the ancient emperor's assistance must have a truly impressive background. Everyone knew the reason for the temporary addition of 3 fleets to this mission, so even Lu Nan, dragged into the retaliation, didn't dare to provoke him again. Liu Wan also immediately abandoned the idea of recruiting him as his son-in-law. He was not someone he could control. That was just a joke. Liu Wan could only deny it. I'm sorry that Zixi took it seriously, but don't you have to give an explanation for her injury? It was your girlfriend who hurt her, right? Yi Hongwen heard the threat hidden in his words, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Your daughter has become a deputy captain at such a young age. She must have some extraordinary qualities. It's not appropriate for her to stay under Captain Liu. It would be a pity if she was ruined. What do you mean? Liu Wan had a bad premonition. Yi Hongwen, don't mess around. I'm not easy to bully. Captain Liu is of course not easy to bully. Yi Hongwen did not deny it, but Mengjia is King Long's first fleet. Do you think your daughter can handle it? I think it's better to let her develop in Fengjia or Luojia. After that, Yi Hongwen hung up the phone without waiting for Liu Wan to say anything else. Chapter 289 Digging a Hole and Burying Myself. The Shenyu fleet's search mission didn't lead to the discovery of the pirate leader, but they did capture dozens of pirates in hiding, so they didn't return empty-handed. Excitedly returning to the ship with their captives, the starving crew was about to head to the mess hall for a hearty meal when they were summoned to the lounge. The Shenyu crew immediately lost interest, as if a reckoning was brewing. The crew on Ship 1, unsure of what was going on, joked at their sullen expressions. Captain, why are you all acting like you're heartbroken? Did you get into trouble and need to be punished? The Shenyu crew members thought to themselves. Of course they did. Although the cook said she took full responsibility for this incident, they weren't disloyal. How could they possibly put all the blame on her? If you want to punish me, then punish me. I don't think I did anything wrong this time, Yun Yan muttered. That person deserves a beating. If it happens again, I'll still do it, yes, I'll still scratch her face, Tang Yufei said fiercely. She had finally grown her nails long because of Liu Jin, but she didn't regret it. She could just grow them back. If she didn't beat up an idiot, she'd be upset for years. Okay, keep your mouth shut, Lin Miaomiao said helplessly. Don't say that in front of the captain later. I said, I'll take the blame for this. Don't be stupid, we won't do anything so disloyal, Yun Yan said with backbone. That's right, Tang Yufei nodded in agreement. We got into this together, so we have to share the responsibility. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes. I hope you can still stand up to the iceberg. Entering the lounge, Yi Hongwen was already seated upright in a chair beneath a security camera. The team members, who had been chattering about how to whitewash themselves as angels of justice, fell silent, tiptoeing to their seats. No one spoke first, the lounge was eerily quiet. Even Yi Hongwen, who had summoned them, seemed lost in thought. He stared at Lin Miaomiao with a gaze so intense she felt uncomfortable. Shifting uncomfortably, Lin Miaomiao straightened her back and said, Captain, do you need us for something? If not, we'll go get dinner. The mess hall will be closing soon, Yi Hongwen replied. Of course I do. There's no rush. We're all on a mission today, and dinner will be served until 9. Well, running out of excuses, Lin Miaomiao sighed helplessly. Just say it if you have something to say. We're all hungry, a dark glint flashed in Yi Hongwen's eyes. Are you hungry? Not just me, everyone's hungry, Lin Miaomiao corrected. After a tiring afternoon, it was time for some nourishment. So fighting in a group is so tiring for you guys. You must have worked hard, Yi Hongwen said nonchalantly. The Shenyu crew members grimaced at this. They were really here to settle a score. What should they do now? Lin Miaomiao, however, was mentally prepared and replied with a dull face, of course fighting is hard, but I didn't know the captain would be so anxious to deal with this matter. Is he trying to stand up for the future captain's wife? Yi Hongwen did not deny it. Since she is my future wife, I must protect her. Everyone was dumbfounded. Wasn't the boss pursuing the young cook? How could he say such a thing? Could he be trying to have his feet on multiple boats? What a scumbag, he's not afraid of capsizing. Everyone thought indignantly, and the fear of punishment faded. They just gritted their teeth and wanted to go up and beat up the scumbag. At this moment of public outcry, there were still people who were tactless enough to fan the flames. Lin Miaomiao, you're incredible. You've even disfigured the future captain's wife, Sheng Ruonan, who hadn't been active for a while, jumped out again, thinking today was a good opportunity to get back at Lin Miaomiao. None of your business, Lin Miaomiao scolded without hesitation. She was in a really bad mood, and she didn't have many reservations about what she said. Mind your own business, or you'll get yourself into trouble. I don't mind helping you with plastic surgery too, Miaomiao. I'll help you, said Yun Yan, a man of great loyalty. Count me in, Tang Yufei chimed in. It's a pity I don't have any nails anymore, or I could scratch her face too. You could get some fake nails and take them off after the fight, Yun Yan suggested earnestly. This unreliable suggestion earned Tang Yufei's praise. Yan, you're really smart. That's what you'll do from now on. It's a pity I don't have time today. I can't let someone experience the power of my nails. Sheng Ruonan paused and silently shut up. She wanted to see how the captain would punish these people who had caused trouble and still dared to be so arrogant. Yi Hongwen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Should he say that people are divided into groups? Miaomiao is brave, and her friends are also brave. But it's better this way, at least they won't be bullied. Thinking of the purpose of gathering everyone this time, Yi Hongwen's eyes deepened, and without hesitation, he interrupted the few people who were still discussing how to tickle people and said, let's chat later. Let's talk about business now. Lin Miaomiao curled her lips and said unhappily, just tell me how to punish you. Don't dither and waste everyone's time. Let's not talk about the punishment for now, Yi Hongwen said coldly. I do have a question to ask you. I heard that you claimed to be my girlfriend that day. Lin Miaomiao's heart skipped a beat. For some reason, she had a bad premonition in her heart, but everyone heard it and it was not easy to go back on it, so she could only answer vaguely, it's your fiancé's fault for being too arrogant. She was picky as soon as she entered the door, and relied on her status to drive us out of the lounge, and even spoke ill of us. You are wrong, Yi Hongwen corrected with a frown. Liu Zai has nothing to do with me, let alone my fiancé. Why are you like this? You just admitted it and you changed your statement again. Lin Miaomiao was angry. Her expressionless face turned a little red because of anger, making her look even more attractive. Yi Hongwen's eyes flashed. If it weren't for the wrong occasion, he really wanted to go up and take a few bites. Reluctantly retracting his gaze, Yi Hongwen said calmly, I didn't admit that she was my fiancé from the beginning. The fiancé I admitted is named Lin Miaomiao. Lin Miaomiao was confused. What do you mean? What I mean is that since you have publicly admitted that you are my girlfriend, then you are naturally my fiancé, and you can't regret it later, Yi Hongwen explained in a good mood. Lin Miaomiao said woodenly, I told you, it was just a stopgap measure, used to scare Liu Jin away. That's none of my business. You said it yourself, I didn't force you, Yi Hongwen insisted. Now everyone in Mengjia knows I have a wild fiancé. Don't even think about quitting like this, she's done for. It's like she accidentally dug a hole and buried herself in it, Lin Miaomiao thought dazedly. What a twist. Everyone said it was too complicated to understand, but that didn't dampen their excitement. Furthermore, judging by this development, the fighting team members didn't have to worry about being punished at all. This was fantastic news. Chapter 290 You Are Mine. The status was finalized inexplicably. Lin Miaomiao's protest was futile. She could only burst into tears in her heart. Talking nonsense would surely bring retribution. The goal was achieved, and the punishment was of course dropped. Although the team members were a little impulsive, they were also trying to protect his girlfriend. Yi Hongwen felt that it was understandable. After the relationship between the two was finalized in front of all the team members, Yi Hongwen was ready to demolish the bridge. To celebrate the successful completion of the mission, I asked Chen Jiayu to add 2 dishes for everyone tonight. Let's all go eat. What's so delicious about Chen Jiayu's extra meal? The boss officially has a boss today. The little cook should add a meal for everyone. Such a good thing will make everyone happier than the success of the mission, Luo Cheng said with a grin. Lin Miaomiao glared at him fiercely. She admitted that she had said the wrong thing and was caught, but she would not do it if he wanted her to add a meal because of this. It made her seem like she was in need of a boyfriend. And Yi Hongwen, he did it on purpose. She had refused last time, but this time he actually forced her to admit it in front of everyone, grabbing her handle and forcing her to admit it. It was simply bullying. It's too late today. Let's talk about it when we return home and have nothing to do, Yi Hongwen replied calmly. Miaomiao is now a powder keg that can explode at any time, and he is not stupid enough to light it. He glanced at the door inadvertently and found that the person at the door had left. Yi Hongwen was even more happy in his heart. Did the fact that he didn't come and mean that he had given up? After confirming that Lin Miaomiao would not be able to cook tonight, everyone rushed to the cafeteria to eat regretfully. Lin Miaomiao was not in a very good mood, and she was also ready to follow the group to eat, using food to make up for her oppressed little heart. Who would have thought that after just a few steps, someone would call out from behind, Miaomiao, wait for me, let's go to the cafeteria to eat together. Lin Miaomiao tried to pretend she didn't hear, but the loyal Yun Yan reminded her seriously, Miaomiao, the boss asked you to wait for him, he asked me to wait, and I should wait. That would be so embarrassing for me, Lin Miaomiao hummed. Yun Yan's eyes widened. What are you thinking? You are already in love. It's normal to wait for someone to eat together. How can it be embarrassing? Miaomiao is shy, Bai Jin said with a sly smile. You are embarrassed, your whole family is embarrassed. Lin Miaomiao looked at her with a dull face. Why didn't I see your Yu Hongbo following you today? He has nothing to do with me, why would I follow him? Bai Jin's face darkened, and she no longer wanted to gossip. She quickened her pace and ran away. Yu Hongbo, who had finally mustered up the courage to come over, was embarrassed. Why did he run so fast like a dog that was being chased? It was hard to catch up with him. Yun Yan smiled. It was unfortunate that he'd come over right after she'd run off. But she was always enthusiastic, so she advised Yu Hongbo, you need to be thick-skinned if you want a girlfriend. Just like the boss, he's got an icy temper, but he's flexible. As long as he doesn't want you to, you can't get him out, Lin Miaomiao pouted, thinking disapprovingly that being too thick-skinned would scare people off. She'd been scared several times, but she hadn't expected that after all this fuss, she'd end up being Yi Hongwen's girlfriend. Her thoughts drifted a bit too far, and she didn't realize a certain big-headed wolf had caught up with her, and everyone around her had run away. Miaomiao, what are you thinking about? Yi Hongwen's voice, as cold as the sound of jade, brought her back to her senses. Nothing, Lin Miaomiao subconsciously concealed. When she came to her senses and saw that only Yi Hongwen was there, her face immediately fell. Why are you here? Where are Yan and the others? Oh, they said they were very hungry and were rushing to the cafeteria to eat, Yi Hongwen replied calmly. Lin Miaomiao didn't believe it. No matter how hungry they were, they wouldn't be in a hurry for a few minutes. But she didn't bother to pursue such a trivial matter. She just wanted to know that Yi Hongwen's change of heart was too sudden. I want to know why I've been chasing you for so long and you never gave in. But now that I've given up, you've changed your mind, Lin Miaomiao asked sternly. Could it be that, as my brother said, you had a plan from the beginning? Yi Hongwen said casually, don't let your imagination run wild. Your brother said that on purpose. If I really had a plan, would he have let me do what I did? Don't forget, your brother didn't show up in the lounge today. Doesn't that mean he agreed? It seemed to make sense. Just now, when all the team members were called to gather in the lounge, the eldest brother, who thought he was also a Mecha Division member, didn't show up. He probably knew what Yi Hongwen was planning and deliberately avoided her. The eldest brother was too mean. He sold her out without a word. Lin Miaomiao was a little depressed. At the Black Evil Wind base, Lin Xianhao, covered in dust and dirt, squatted on a mecha cabin and couldn't help sneezing. Hey, who's scolding me? Lin Miaomiao, who had been fooled by the iceberg, had no idea how hard her big brother was doing. She just followed Yi Hongwen into the cafeteria to eat. After dinner, Lin Miaomiao habitually prepared to go back to her room. There was nothing to entertain her on the ship except the training room, so she had to go back to bed early. When she went upstairs, she found that Yi Hongwen, who should be very busy, was actually following her closely. She was immediately surprised. Is there no finishing work after completing this mission? Even if the last small mission was completed, Yi Hongwen had been busy for several days, organizing the mission process and results for reporting, counting the fleet's losses, etc. Why was he so idle today? Yi Hongwen said calmly, Captain Jinghong is in charge of this mission, and he will handle the finishing work. As for the inventory of Shen Yu's losses, Vice Captain Gu is here. You've pushed all your work onto him again. Lin Miaomiao understood. Why do you always bully Kenkyu? Yi Hongwen's face darkened, and he stood up for the boy again. Miaomiao, you are mine. Yi Hongwen held her and said seriously, so, you are not allowed to be unfair for him? Lin Miaomiao felt a little burning in her ears, and she looked away and tried to break free from his hand. Let go. What are you crazy about? We are obviously talking about business. What are you talking about? Yi Hongwen didn't think so. I am talking about business. Don't you realize that he likes you too? Miaomiao is his girlfriend anyway, so it doesn't matter if he exposes it. It is more important to take the opportunity to keep some distance between them. Don't think he didn't see Gu Qingheng getting close to her for no reason. What did you say? Lin Miaomiao was so shocked that she stopped struggling. Yi Hongwen took the opportunity to completely embrace her in his arms and walked forward, saying seriously, we can't stand in the middle of the road blocking the way. Let's talk while walking. Lin Miaomiao didn't care about so much anymore. She pulled his hand and asked, are you kidding me? He obviously likes Xiaoran. Yi Hongwen was a little helpless. Are you sure you want to discuss this topic in the middle of the road in front of others? After saying this, he glanced back, indicating that there was someone behind her. Lin Miaomiao pushed him away decisively and walked forward. I'd better go back to my room to rest. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291 Level 7 Mecha Cabin. While Yi Hongwen exposed his rival's identity in front of Lin Miaomiao, the struggling eldest brother of the Lin family was still dismantling the mecha hatch. Standing nearby, Ren Jiaojia urged, hurry up. Everyone's gone back to dinner. He's called a genius armorer, yet he can't even open a mecha hatch. Lin Xianhao grumbled, you can't blame me. I can easily open the boss's level 6 mecha. The difficulty of opening this mecha hatch only means it's a higher level. Ren Jiaojia was instantly excited. That meant it must be a level 7 mecha. It was said that there was only one level 7 mecha master in the Black Evil Wind, the newly promoted Li Jingxun. Could we have found the pirate leader? I guess so. Lin Xianhao fiddled with the hatch, only to find it was tightly sealed. He couldn't open it with his tools, so he gave up, put away his tools, and tossed them back into the space button. "Why aren't you dismantling it?" Ren Jiaojiao asked, puzzled. "Take it back and disassemble it." "We don't have enough tools." Lin Xianhao summoned his mecha and followed the guide beam up. He didn't rush to close the hatch, but smiled. "Wife, do you want to come with me?" Ren Jiaojiao's face flushed instantly, and she spat softly. "Shame on you. Who's your wife? We're not even married yet. Getting married isn't easy. Just take your household registration to the marriage office," Lin Xianhao said with a grin. "Or we can ask for leave and register when we get back to base." "Get out of here." Ren Jiaojiao glared at him, released her mecha, jumped in, and quickly rushed towards the Shenai. Lin Xianhao shrugged helplessly, closed the hatch, grabbed the mecha cabin on the ground, and followed. Back on the battleship, Ren Jiaojiao ran to the kitchen to find food, not bothering to pay attention to her boyfriend who was still dragging the mecha cabin with him. Lin Xianhao jumped off the mech and stared at the mech pod he was clutching in his mech's hands, wondering whether to eat first or dismantle the pod. The pod had been down for so long, the occupants must have died long ago. He thought it best to eat first, lest he lose his appetite after looking at the corpses. He took a few steps toward the stairs, but ultimately retreated. The occupant inside was likely the pirate leader. Capturing Shen Yu alive would be a great achievement. Although the chances of survival were slim, it was worth a gamble. Lin Xianhao sighed heavily. Or should I just blow it all up? What's the point of leaving the pod alone? It's such a dilemma. After a long struggle, Lin Xianhao dragged the pod back to the repair room. However, believing that if he suffered, the people who had been asked to dismantle the pod wouldn't suffer either, he dialed Yi Hongwen's video call. As soon as the video call went through, Lin Xianhao started talking quickly. "Boss, that mecha cabin is at least level 6. I suspect it's the pirate leader's level 7 mecha. It's down there, but the tools aren't complete and it hasn't been disassembled yet, so I brought it up here. You should come to the repair room and take a look." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xianhao hung up the call with a click, as if fearing rejection. Lin Xianhao's fears were indeed realized. Yi Hongwen had just followed his girlfriend into her dorm room and had barely settled into his chair when he received the call, desperate to leave. However, the call ended so quickly that he had no time to refuse. Furthermore, Lin Miaomiao, curious after hearing it might be the pirate leader's mecha cabin, insisted on checking it out, so he had no choice but to give in. "There's nothing to see here, really. Even if it's Li Jingxun, he's probably dead," Yi Hongwen said, still trying to dissuade her from following him. "What's so interesting about a dead body? It's better to just stay in her room and rest." "Then I'll go and see it too," Lin Miaomiao said. She wouldn't be scared by the dead. She went there to confirm one thing: Xiaoju might be in there too. Yi Hongwen was startled. "Xiaoju? The one who reported it to you?" "Yes, he said he was captured by the crystal pirates and sold to the black evil wind," Lin Miaomiao sighed. "Xiaoju was really pitiful. He was an orphan to begin with, and now he's suffered such a disaster." Yi Hongwen was silent for a moment before saying, "Then you have to be mentally prepared. It's been 3 hours since the pirate ship opened fire. If Li Jingxun is still conscious, then he's fine." "What if—" He stopped there, but Lin Miaomiao knew what he was getting at. Xiaoju was in a level 7 mecha, and without Li Jingxun's mental strength to balance the pressure in the mecha cabin, he wouldn't be able to stay in there for long. "I know, the chances of him surviving are very slim," Lin Miaomiao said, a little dejected. After Xiaoju sent the report, she asked him in her reply how he was captured by the pirates and where he was now. After a long time, Xiaoju finally texted her back, briefly mentioning that he had been sold to Black Evil Wind and was currently in Li Jingxun's mecha. Therefore, finding Li Jingxun was equivalent to finding Xiaoju. What worried Lin Miaomiao the most was that Xiaoju seemed to already know his own fate, concluding the message with, "I wanted to see you again, but unfortunately I can't." Seeing her distress, Yi Hongwen consoled her, "Don't dwell on it. Maybe a miracle will happen." "Yeah, I hope Xiaoju is lucky and has a long life," Lin Miaomiao said, though she knew the hope was slim. Back in the repair room, Lin Xianhao was still struggling with the mecha cabin, surrounded by several manicurists, who were giving advice, all of which were bad. "It's so difficult to dismantle. I think it's better to have the mecha technicians just chop it open with a large steel knife, suggested manicurist A. Are you stupid? Manicurist B scoffed. Not to mention that the mecha cabin is so sturdy, it's hard to break even after all this time. Just imagine if it were to split the person inside in half. That would be a shame, manicurist C chimed in. I think we should just pry it open. Those parts are so intricate and worth studying. It would be a shame to destroy them, A and B said in unison. What? You? C silently stepped aside. He wasn't so magnanimous as to sacrifice himself. Besides, the gap was so small, and he was too big to fit in. Shut up, everyone, Lin Miaomiao said, annoyed by the noise. You can be grinding your teeth here, but you can't come help. There are so many parts here, it'll take me forever to dismantle it by myself. Several manicurists gathered around with smirks. They were so used to watching Lin Miaomiao work that they had forgotten that they could actually help. You're so mean to call me over before you're even finished dismantling it. Big brother, Lin Miaomiao complained. Lin Miaomiao was so busy dismantling parts that he didn't notice anything was wrong. He replied casually. Since you've pushed all the work out and there's nothing else to do, it doesn't matter if we start early. But as he finished speaking, he realized something was wrong. Hey, little sister, why are you here? I clearly didn't tell you, but you came here on your own and you think you're too early. Lin Miaomiao looked up at the sky. I happened to pass by and heard you video calling the captain. Passing by? Lin Miaomiao felt something was wrong, but he was very busy and didn't have time to think about it, so he had to give up. Chapter 292 Taking Advantage of the Dead. After several mecha technicians worked for half an hour, the hatch finally slid open silently. Lin Miaomiao, in his ill-intentioned decision, hadn't informed the others when the hatch was about to open, and manicurist A couldn't avoid it and fell in. A horrific sound echoed from the mecha cabin, then quickly faded away. Manicurist B covered his face with his hands and cried out in dismay. Hey, are you still alive? What are you saying? How could you die from such a short fall? Manicurist C jumped out to enforce the situation. If you don't believe me, I'll push you in and see. Forget it, manicurist B said with a stone face. You're just seeking revenge, you bastards. Not only didn't you pull me up, you're still chatting outside. There are 2 dead people in there, manicurist A's furious voice echoed from the mecha. 2 dead people, Lin Miaomiao sighed softly. Although she had been prepared, she still felt saddened by the news. Ye Hongwen took her hand and comforted her. Don't be sad, he has made a contribution this time. When the time comes, keep him on the ship and deal with him separately from the pirates' bodies. Pull me up quickly, Mecha Engineer A was still shouting. But manicurist C said coldly, why are you in such a hurry? We have to send people down anyway. It's just right for you to fall down. Lift up those 2 dead people and let us pull them out. The people really had to be moved out. Mecha Engineer A couldn't find a reason to refuse, so he just did it resignedly. The first person to be moved out was a young man. There was a smile on his beautiful face, as if he had encountered something happy before his death. Ye Hongwen took the initiative to step forward to pick up the person and put him underground. Lin Miaomiao recognized his identity at a glance. It's Xiao Jiu. Although they had only met a few times and had never spoken, Lin Miaomiao was still very impressed with him, because he was very handsome, and no matter who saw him, they would feel amazed. Ye Hongwen didn't recognize Xiao Jiu, so he wasn't particularly concerned. He was only concerned with another point. So, the other person is Li Jingxun. Yes, that's Li Jingxun. Lin Miaomiao nodded randomly. Xiao Jiu said it was in his mech. Another body was also brought out. Lin Miaomiao glanced at it casually, noting that the man looked very gentle and refined. If he had met him anywhere else, he wouldn't have looked like a pirate. Lowering her gaze, she saw Li Jingxun, dressed in a white mech master uniform. Just as she was about to scorn the black-hearted pirate's pretense of purity, she saw a knife lodged in his chest, his clothes stained with blood. He didn't fall to his death, Lin Miaomiao said excitedly. He was killed by Xiao Jiu. With a thud, manicurist A, who was about to be pulled out, fell back down again. The person holding him had let go and jumped off the mech to see what was going on. Oh, he really was killed. I was wondering how level 7 Mecha Master could be so weak. He couldn't even dodge a single round of artillery fire. Lin Miaomiao stared at the knife with his eyes shining. This guy's death was so miserable. Manicurist C shook his head and sighed. What a shame. Such a handsome young man, so smart, who was able to gain Li Jingxun's trust and escape with him, was actually killed by a fall. Yes, if you were still alive, it wouldn't be bad to marry him home as a wife. Manicurist B felt very sorry. He had always wanted to find a beautiful wife, but after so much effort, he found someone who turned out to be dead. Somewhat unwillingly, he touched Xiaojiu's face. The skin was smooth and tender, and most importantly, it had a hint of warmth. He was stunned, and then touched it again. Lin Miaomiao was already feeling depressed, but seeing his actions, she couldn't help but explode with anger. You pervert, how shameless are you? You're even taking advantage of a dead person. Aren't you afraid that Xiaoji will come looking for you in the middle of the night? Let go now, or I'll chop off your dirty pig's feet. I didn't take advantage of a dead person, Manicurist B said blankly. He doesn't look like he's dead yet. Normally, a dead body would quickly become cold and stiff. Li Jingxun's body had already become stiff. When they moved him earlier, they had been carrying him through his clothes. After testing for breathlessness, they assumed he was dead. But now it was cold, and the body was still warm after being moved for a while, indicating that he was still breathing. Lin Miaomiao, Yi Hongwen was the quickest to react. Hurry and get him to the infirmary. Hurry, use a mecha. Then he remembered that only 3 people present could operate a mecha, so he took matters into his own hands. He released the Black Lotus, grabbed Long Jiuwei, and ran to the infirmary. Lin Miaomiao and the others stood there in a daze for a moment, then came to their senses and prepared to follow to see what was happening. Manicurist A roared from inside the mecha cabin, "You bastards! You threw me once, but you threw me a second time. Hurry and pull me out. I promise I won't kill you." Manicurist B hesitated. "Why don't we pull him out yet? I'm afraid he'll beat us up." Manicurist C nodded in agreement. "It would be terrible if he gets disfigured. I don't have enough credits to buy top-tier repair fluid." Even so, they still had to pull the man out because Lin Xianhao had said, "If you don't roll over to help, I'll throw you down too." So the two of them rolled over smoothly. As for Lin Miaomiao, she had already followed Yi Hongwen's mecha to the infirmary. Entering the examination room, Lin Miaomiao found that the repair cabin against the wall was operating, and Xiaoji was already performing repairs inside. The examination was completed so quickly, Lin Miaomiao was a little surprised. What's the result? The infirmary was not far from the repair room. It took her less than 5 minutes to jog over, but the patient had already been put into the repair chamber. This speed was really incredible. Ji Yuanyang was speechless. The patient is in such a state, how can there be time to examine him slowly? By the time the examination is over, he will be dead. Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. She was not a doctor, so how could she think so much? She could only stare at the repair chamber silently, praying that the patient could be saved. "Don't look at it," Yi Hongwen blocked her view unhappily. The repair chamber was translucent, and people who entered would be stripped naked. He didn't want his girlfriend to stare at a naked man. What's wrong with taking a look? Lin Miaomiao was very angry. Xiaoju is my friend. Although they had never spoken face to face, they had sent 2 text messages, so they should be considered friends. Lin Miaomiao thought uncertainly. "No, he's not wearing any clothes," Yi Hongwen said coldly. "If you want to see, I can take them off for you." Lin Miaomiao became angry and embarrassed. She obviously wanted to see how Xiaoji was doing, but why did it all taste different in his mouth? Feeling embarrassed and ashamed, Lin Miaomiao blurted out, "Go away, it's not like I haven't seen it before, and it's nothing good to see." "You've seen it." Yi Hongwen was a little surprised, and then he thought of the last time he was injured and entered the recovery cabin, and when he was carried out by the machine nurse, he was indeed seen naked, so he raised his eyebrows. "You didn't look carefully at that time. How do you know it's not good looking? When you have time, I'll let you appreciate it." Lin Miaomiao felt her cheeks burning, and she didn't bother to look at Xiaoji anymore. She turned around and ran out of the examination room, leaving only a sentence. "Since Xiaoju was in the recovery cabin, I'll go back to the room to rest first, and come back to check for news later." Yi Hongwen wanted to follow, but he knew that it would be useless to chase him now, so he turned to Ji Yuanyang and said, "This person is the one who tipped us off, and we must do our best to treat him." "I know, but even if I hadn't checked, I wouldn't have bothered to tell that his condition was very bad, and he might not be able to be saved." "Don't have too high hopes," Ji Yuanyang said, and waved his hand lazily. "You should leave quickly too. Don't stay here and be an eyesore." Chapter 293 Beauty is a Trouble. Although Lin Miaomiao was worried about Xiao Jiu, they were not very familiar with each other after all, so her worry was limited. When Yu Hongwang interrupted her, her thoughts wandered a little. She went back to her room, lay down for a while, and fell asleep. Perhaps because she felt relieved after completing the task, or perhaps because she felt a hidden joy in her heart for suddenly having a boyfriend, she slept until dawn. After waking up in a daze, Lin Miaomiao was dazed for a while, and then she remembered that she didn't know how Xiaoji was doing. She actually forgot to check on the situation. She was really heartless. She jumped up and changed her wrinkled clothes, ran to the bathroom to wash up, and finished her personal hygiene in less than 10 minutes. She rushed to the infirmary. When she arrived at the examination room, she found that there was no one inside. She ran to the consultation room and saw Ji Yuang lying on the large office desk, drooling in his sleep. Lin Miaomiao was speechless. No wonder she felt the consulting room was a bit odd. There was a desk 2 meters long and 1.5 meters wide, and it turned out to be a dual-purpose desk. Did she see how the quilt and mattress fit so perfectly? Dr. G, wake up, Lin Miaomiao called out. Fearing she wouldn't wake him up, she pushed a few times, but it was no use. After calling for a long time without any response, Lin Miaomiao became a little discouraged and couldn't help muttering, "Why is he sleeping like a dead pig? Is it really okay to have a doctor like this on duty?" Ji Yuang, who couldn't be woken up at first, suddenly opened his eyes and said angrily, "Little cook, don't go too far. You can question my character, but you can't question my professionalism as a doctor." Lin Miaomiao looked at him suspiciously. "A doctor who sleeps on the desk while on duty? I have no choice. I want to move a single bed over to rest, but the boss said that it would destroy the image of a doctor. I can only make do with the desk," Ji Yuang said indignantly. "Little cook, please judge for yourself. Isn't the boss going too far? It's indeed too much." Lin Miaomiao nodded in agreement. "You are actually allowed to put such a big table here to sleep. Isn't this destroying the image of our fleet?" Ji Yuang was depressed. This was a blow to his fragile little heart. It was really unforgivable, so he said with a wooden face, "What on earth are you doing here, little cook, to disturb people's dreams so early in the morning?" "Oh," Lin Miaomiao finally remembered what she was here for. "Where's the guy we sent over last night? Where did he go?" "Which guy?" Ji Yuang looked at her in confusion. Lin Miaomiao wanted to stamp her feet. Their fleet was only on guard and search duty, no one was hurt. They had already sent Xiaoji over yesterday, and he was still asking which one. He was just playing dumb. Just as she was about to curse, Ji Yuang suddenly said, "I remember now. It's the handsome boy who was only breathing his last breath that a boss sent over, right?" "Yes, that's him," Lin Miaomiao asked anxiously. "How is he? Why didn't I see him in the examination room?" Ji Yuang didn't say where he went, but just shook his head and sighed. "Oh, such a beautiful boy. What a pity." Lin Miaomiao's heart sank. Had he still not been saved? She had thought that with the advanced medical technology of today, as long as he was still breathing, he could be saved. She hadn't expected it. "Then where did you send him?" Lin Miaomiao asked anxiously. If he was dead, he should be frozen in the morgue. She wanted to see this poor boy off. "Of course he's placed in the ward," Ji Yuang said as a matter of course. "Even if he never wakes up, as long as he's breathing, we can't throw him into the black hole of the universe." "Wait, what do you mean? How can he still be breathing? Isn't he dead?" Lin Miaomiao felt a little dizzy after hearing this, and she found that she couldn't keep up with the pace. Ji Yuang looked at her innocently. "Little cook, you are too mean. His brain was just damaged so badly that he became a vegetable, but he's still breathing. How could he die in your mouth?" Lin Miaomiao was also drunk. It was obviously this quack who misled her, but he still had the nerve to pretend to be innocent. He really deserved a beating. But being in a vegetative state is not much better than being dead. He has no consciousness and no idea whether he will wake up. He can only be manipulated by others. "What about in the future? Our fleet will not be so kind to keep him forever?" Lin Miaomiao asked. She was a little worried. If he never woke up, would they give up? Ji Yuang yawned, his hair tangled and messy from just waking up. "I'm not sure about that," he said, his hair tangled and messy. "It should be handed over to the military, after all. They brought him from a pirate den. By the way, aren't you going to see someone? It's in the ward next to the examination room. Go by yourself." Lin Miaomiao silently left the consultation room and headed for the ward. Although she didn't get an answer, she knew the military wouldn't keep a stranger for nothing, even if Xiaoju had performed meritorious services. She should probably ask Yu Hongwen about this. At worst, she could pay to have him admitted to a sanatorium. If it was someone she didn't know, that was fine. Xiaoju had worked at a restaurant before, and he had been so helpful this time. Since she had the ability, she wouldn't just stand by and watch him die. There were only about 4 or 5 wards on the ship, but they were quite spacious, with 10 single beds and not feeling crowded. It was said that there were no wards on Ship 1, and patients seriously needing a doctor's close observation were sent to the main ship. Long Jiuwei lay quietly in the first bed, a large IV drip hooked up to his hand. Approaching, he saw the bottle labeled Advanced Nutrient Solution. Since someone couldn't wake up, they couldn't keep feeding them daily, so they had to resort to IV drips. Although in a vegetative state, Xiaoju's complexion looked much better than it had been the night before, from a deathly pale to a slightly rosy white. Her delicate face was even more alluring, making Lin Miaomiao's mouth water. Beauty is a disaster. She's already become a vegetable, Lin Miaomiao muttered, pacing the bedside a few times before leaving. She wouldn't be of much use staying here, she'd naturally leave after seeing the whole thing. Beauty has a remarkable influence. Someone hadn't gotten the word out, but by noon, everyone knew there was a stunning beauty lying in the infirmary ward. She was even more beautiful than the cook, but unfortunately, she was brain dead and in a vegetative state. Even though she was in a vegetative state, everyone decided to go and see her. So, during lunch, Lin Miaomiao received an invitation from Lin Yin. Let's go see the vegetative patient who is 3 points more beautiful than you. Lin Yin was looking forward to it. You look pretty good already, and someone prettier than you must be so pleasing to the eye, Lin Miaomiao said with a wooden face. Find someone else to accompany you. I've already been there this morning. Oh, Lin Yin was anxious, and she couldn't even enjoy her meal. No, you can see it again after you've seen it. How can I compare whether what they say is true if you don't go? Lin Miaomiao slowly finished the last bite of food before answering. No need to compare, I've been compared to trash by Xiaoju. Saying that she is 3 points more beautiful than me is still giving me face. I guess I can't even compare to half of her. Lin Yin was dumbfounded and blurted out, beauty is a disaster. Chapter 294, Home Claim. Lin Yin's plan to drag Lin Miaomiao to see the beauty was ultimately unfulfilled, because after lunch, a group of uninvited guests arrived on the Shenyu. Liu Wan asked Ren Changning to step in, and with his daughter and dozens of team members, they boarded the Shenyu in a rage, seeking revenge on the person who had disfigured his daughter. Because Lin Miaomiao claimed to be Yi Hongwen's girlfriend, and the people on the Shenyu did not object, Liu Jin hated her, believing that her disfigurement was her fault, and pestered Liu Wan for revenge. Liu Wan was initially concerned about Yi Hongwen's background, but was influenced by his daughter's behavior of crying, making a fuss, and then jumping off the ship, and finally decided to hold her accountable. After all, it was only Yi Hongwen's girlfriend who hurt his daughter, and these days, breaking up is as easy as eating cabbage. He didn't think Yi Hongwen would really make things difficult for him for a woman. After all, he was the captain of the Qinglong First Fleet. However, to be on the safe side, he still asked Ren Changning to come forward. After all, he had sent back several messages requesting the Shenyu to dock with the warship, but Shenyu had refused to give him any face. No matter how arrogant you are, you still haven't let me board the warship, Liu Wan muttered smugly. Although he relied on Ren Changning's favor, the fact that he could persuade such a powerful person to come forward was a sign of skill. Liu Wan was even more confident in this operation. At this moment, Gu Qinghang appeared. Excuse me, Captain Liu, please send your team back first. The Shenyu is too small to accommodate so many people. What nonsense. How can such a large warship not accommodate dozens of people? Liu Jin roared angrily. You just don't dare to let them board. Gu Qinghang smiled and reminded, didn't Vice Captain Liu say that the Shenyu is too small? I just remembered that you don't like crowds, so I came to stop them. You? Liu Jin blushed and was speechless. Liu Wan frowned. What if I insist on taking them aboard? Gu Qinghang's smile remained unchanged, but he said bluntly, then please go back to where you came from. We at Shenyu won't entertain you. How dare you do this? Don't forget it was Captain Ren who helped pass on the message. Don't you even take the Jinghong fleet seriously? Liu Wan threatened. You want to use the Jinghong fleet to pressure us? Gu Qingheng dropped to a smile and said expressionlessly, "Do you think it will work?" Seeing Gu Qingheng's expression finally change, Liu Wan smiled. "Don't you think Vice Captain Gu knows better?" Gu Qingheng pondered for a moment and decided that even if these people went aboard, they wouldn't pose a threat. Just as he was about to let them go, Yi Hongwen appeared. "Either let them go, or Captain Liu will go with them." "There's no third option," Yi Hongwen said coldly. Liu Wan hadn't expected this outcome. His face burned, as if he had been slapped several times. "If you won't let us in, just barge in. I want to see if you have more people than us," Liu Jin shouted unwillingly. She was used to being willful and didn't think there was anything wrong with barging into the ship. Fortunately, Liu Wan wasn't completely confused. He knew that if they barged into the ship, Shen Yu could fight them off and even ask Jing Hong for help. Because Shen Yu had agreed to this docking in the first place for Ren Chengning's sake, if they caused trouble, it would be a loss of face for Jing Hong. "Zixi, shut up," Liu Wan said to his daughter in a rare, stern voice. "We're here to reason, not to cause trouble. Let them go back first." Liu's eye was anxious. "But there are more of them. What if it's like last time? Last time, it was you who wanted to hit our future captain's wife." Luo Chang rolled his eyes at her. "If you succeed on our turf, where will our dignity be?" When Zixi smiled and said, "As long as Vice Captain Liu doesn't strike first, we promise to let you leave safely," Liu's eyes face darkened. She wanted to retort, but she had indeed struck first last time, and there was no way to deny it. Seeing his daughter's reaction, and considering Zhuang Wenming's explanation last time, Liu Wan knew she was feeling guilty. He could only sigh and say to the team members behind him, "Everyone go back." The people at Shenaiyu said they will guarantee our safety. Finally, Liu Wan, Zhuang Wenming, Liu Zai and the other two boarded the Shenaiyu. The group approached the lounge. Liu Wan, noticing a large crowd inside, refused to enter. "Since there are only 3 of us, shouldn't you also dismiss the non-essential personnel?" Yi Hongwen didn't care. He didn't think he'd be at a disadvantage against Liu Wan, so he agreed. He told the team members who had eagerly come over to watch the show, "Anyone who's not busy should go upstairs to train. Don't stay here." Everyone was disappointed. They weren't allowed to watch the show. Life is so lonely. Some team members obediently left, while others refused to leave. Yun Yan bluntly said, "I'm the first to fight back. I have to stay." Zhang Sanbao's eyes lit up, and he immediately followed suit. "Yesterday, someone attacked me personally. Since she's here asking for compensation, shouldn't I also ask her for some emotional distress compensation?" Lin Miaomiao sat calmly. She was the victim Liu's eye wanted to attack, and the reason for everyone's counterattack. She definitely couldn't leave. Tang Yufei was also eager to follow Yun Yan's example and stay, but before she could say a word, Ren Jiao covered her mouth. "Miaomiao said you would definitely not behave yourself, and asked me to watch you so you wouldn't talk nonsense," Ren Jiao said with a low laugh. "You'd better leave with him." After saying that, she pushed the person to Bai Jin, asking her to help pull the person away, and Tang Yufei was taken away unwillingly. The number of people in the lounge dropped sharply, but no matter how much it dropped, there were still quite a lot of people on Shen Yu's side, including Yun Yan and Zhang Sanbao who participated in the fight, the protagonist of the incident Lin Miaomiao, the fuse Yi Hongwen, as well as the protagonist's brother and sister-in-law, and Gu Qingheng. "It's not fair, you actually left so many people behind," Liu's eye screamed, her face a little distorted, and the scabbed scars on it twisted and twisted, looking a little disgusting. Lin Miaomiao didn't want to look at it again after just one look, so she could only lower her eyes and look at the ground and pretend to be silent. Yun Yan said with a smile, "Those of us who stayed are relevant personnel, either those who participated in the fight, or those who were the fuse that triggered the war, and then the family members, with sufficient legitimate reasons." "What about him?" Liu Jin pointed at Gu Qingheng unhappily. "He didn't participate in the fight, and he's not a relative of that person, so why is he standing here?" "Oh, he's here to entertain Deputy Captain Zhuang," Yun Yan replied. Liu Jin. "What kind of entertaining? We're here to seek justice, not to be guests." However, Gu Qingheng really entertained Zhuang Wenming, and took out a lot of drinks and snacks and warmly invited him to sit in the corner. "Your Deputy Captain Liu said that those who are not involved should not interfere in this matter, so let's stay here to drink water and have snacks." Gu Qingheng smiled like a spring breeze, and his face was so gentle that people couldn't find a reason to refuse, so Zhuang Wenming followed him to drink water and have snacks. Chapter 295 Negotiation. Zhuang Wenming was tricked into leaving and enjoying the treatment of a guest, while Liu Wan and his daughter were surrounded by 6 people. What do you want to do? Liu's eyes said in horror. We're talking to you about reason and discussing compensation. Yun Yan found her a little baffled. It was clearly you who brought it up, so why are you acting like you're unaware of it? Liu's eye swallowed and looked at Yun Yan warily, as if afraid that she would suddenly pounce on her. She said anxiously, just talk about reason. Why are you surrounding us? Get out of the way. I'm standing closer because I'm afraid you can't hear clearly, Yun Yan said with a smile, but if you're not used to it, forget it. Zhuang Wenming, who was munching on a piece of cake in the corner, was a little worried. He just wanted to avoid irrelevant disputes, but he couldn't just watch his captain get beaten. He thought about getting up to smooth things over, but he was held down. Gu Qinghang handed Zhuang Wenming a bottle of cold tea. Come on, let's drink some water. Don't worry about that side. There won't be a fight. In the end, there really wasn't a fight. A little scare was fine, but if it had come to that, it would be bad. Yi Hongwen wouldn't throw out such a big handle. 2 against 6, he was already losing in terms of numbers, and after being deliberately intimidated, Liu Wan's momentum was suppressed during the formal meeting. Liu Jin looked like everyone was going to beat her up, hiding behind her father and not daring to come out. If she didn't dare to come out, she could just keep quiet, but Liu Jin didn't want to. She felt wronged, and kept looking at Yi Hongwen with a little aggrieved look, wanting to tell him, I'm wronged, but I can't say it. Yi Hongwen didn't mind being looked at a few times, but wanted to use the opportunity to prove his innocence, so he pushed Lin Miaomiao out to block the aggrieved look that followed him like a shadow. Lin Miaomiao was stunned for a moment. Only after receiving the hint did she understand what was going on, and then she said with a deadpan expression, last time, Miss Liu came to our ship under the guise of a guest, bluffing and defrauding us. Now, are you trying to steal my girl under the guise of a claim? I didn't, Liu Jin defended, but her tone was less confident, completely devoid of the arrogance she had shown when she first arrived. Then why are you staring at Yi Hongwen? Don't you know he's my man? Lin Miaomiao declared domineeringly, anyone who dares to steal my girl will be beaten to pulp, have her job destroyed, and have her credits emptied out. Yun Yan and Zhang Sanbao's eyes lit up. The little cook was truly capable. Her arrogance was the way to subdue the other party so she could negotiate a lower price. Liu Jin's eyes widened. This was the first time she'd encountered someone more arrogant than her, someone who had so openly threatened her, and she felt completely uneasy. Lin Xianhao, however, only added fuel to the fire, snorting with his chin raised and nose pointed upwards, you're trying to steal our Lin family's eldest daughter's man, and now you're losing and you're still asking for compensation. You're truly a ruthless person. A recent birthday party had wiped out all of Lin Xianhao's savings, and now he's desperately looking for his wealthy younger sister to help with his living expenses. He certainly wouldn't be happy to see someone coming to him for compensation. This wasn't just stealing his credit points. The brother and sister teamed up, beating Liu Jin until her face turned pale. Seeing his daughter unable to hold out, Liu Wan finally lost his patience. Let's not dwell on these trivial matters. We're not here to argue about them, Liu Wan said, his face darkening. Captain Yi, I have only one question for you. Do your men owe an apology for disfiguring my daughter, and are you responsible for her medical expenses? Yi Hongwen had barely opened his mouth when Lin Miaomiao replied, don't even think about paying for her medical expenses, but I can fix her face. You'll also have to pay for her. Liu Wan breathed a sigh of relief when he heard someone would be responsible for fixing his daughter's face. Despite his captaincy, his income was managed by his wife, and he didn't make much money from outside sources because Zhuang Wenming was watching over him. Indeed, Zhuang Wenming wasn't in cahoots with Liu Wan. Liu Wan had promoted his daughter to deputy captain without authorization, which displeased the captain-in-chief. However, he couldn't afford to offend him because he was a long-time subordinate. So, he transferred Zhuang Wenming to Mengjia to ensure the captaincy wouldn't become a family heirloom. As for Lin Miaomiao's request for compensation, Liu Wan didn't take it seriously. It was his daughter who was injured, so how could he possibly ask for compensation? However, he still had to politely ask for the reason, so he said with a fake smile, since Miss Lin has brought it up, it's not impossible for us to pay. We should at least give a reason, as long as it's reasonable. Liu Wan assumed she couldn't come up with a legitimate reason, so he made such a high-sounding statement, and then he regretted it bitterly. Lin Miaomiao was waiting for this sentence. Seeing him ask, she said calmly, "It's one thing for Lieutenant Liu to complain about the small space on our ship, but he personally attacked our team at Zhang Sanbao, making it difficult for us to concentrate on training. He must pay for the mental damage." Zhang Sanbao played along, acting dejected and depressed, almost ready to die. "Okay, we'll pay," Liu Wan agreed readily. He was just an ordinary soldier, and a few thousand credits would be enough to get rid of him. "Next, it's time to calculate my mental damage compensation," Lin Miaomiao said. Liu Jin glared. "You beat me so badly I'm disfigured, and I still need to pay you for mental damages? You're talking nonsense," Lin Miaomiao said, squinting at her and explaining impatiently, "Because of your nonsense, Ye Hongwen and I had a fight. My fragile heart has suffered a severe blow. I guess it will take a long time to recover." Fragile? Why did that word sound so strange when applied to Miaomiao? Renjiao couldn't help but chuckle for a long time. Even if it sounded ridiculous, the reason was still very sufficient. Liu Jin couldn't refute it and could only complain in her heart, "Why don't we just break up after the quarrel?" Liu once calculated that it would cost at least 200,000 or 300,000 credit points to restore his daughter's face. Even if the mental damages for the two of them were 100,000, it wouldn't be a loss for him. "How about this? I'll give you both 100,000 yuan for your emotional distress," Liu Wan said with feigned generosity. "Miss Lin, just pay for Zixie's facial treatment." "What do you think?" Lin Miaomiao thought for a moment and reluctantly agreed. "It's a little small, but I agree because Captain Liu loves his daughter." Liu Wan was overjoyed. "That's settled. Our military doctor says Zixie's face treatment will cost over 300,000 yuan. I won't argue much, just 300,000 yuan. Deduct 100,000 yuan, and you only need to give me another 200,000 yuan, such a huge demand." Lin Xianhao was furious. He took a step forward to lash out, but was pushed back by his sister. Then he heard her readily agree. "It's only 200,000 yuan. I won't bargain with you," Lin Miaomiao said without any hesitation. She genuinely thought it was a bargain. Liu's eyes' facial scars were quite deep. Lin Xianhao was on the verge of tears. Why was his sister so generous? She had so many credit points that she could have thrown at him, and he didn't mind at all. "Really? Ms. Lin is straightforward. When are you going to transfer the credit points?" Liu Wan said happily. Liu Jin, who was hiding behind her father, also smiled. She knew that the military doctor said that 100,000 yuan could cure her face. She had to think about how to spend the extra 100,000 yuan. However, they were not happy for too long, because Lin Miaomiao had something else to say. "We have to wait for the transfer," Liu Wan understood very well. Judging from her age, she must not have much savings. She would probably have to ask her family for money. But Liu Jin said unhappily, "There has to be a time limit for waiting. Even if you don't have money, doesn't your brother have it? And, isn't Ye Hongwen your boyfriend? Why wouldn't he be willing to help you pay off your debts?" The more she talked, the more possible it seemed. Liu Jin couldn't help but smile gloatingly. Chapter 296, Claims Failed, Debts Incurred. Liu Jin thought she had grasped the key point. She felt that Ye Hongwen didn't really like Lin Miaomiao that much, since he wasn't even willing to help with compensation. She thought there was still a chance to ruin their relationship, and she burst into laughter. But before she could even laugh a few more times, Ye Hongwen slapped her in the face. "What's mine is Miaomiao's, and I'll take full responsibility for all her debts," Ye Hongwen said coldly. "It's just that Miaomiao still has a debt to settle with you, so of course I can't pay her first." Lin Miaomiao nodded in satisfaction, and took the opportunity to despise her older brother. He said that falling in love had made him stupid, and he had actually forgotten that she would eat anything but not suffer any loss. The despised Lin Xianhao touched his nose and rubbed against his girlfriend for comfort, and then Ren Jiao perfunctorily patted his head. "Lin Xianhao, I'm not a pet cat." And, Liu Wan's face changed. He didn't want to end up with nothing. "Yes, there's still the most important account to settle," Lin Miaomiao said cheerfully, her lips curled up. "Our captain's reputation is the most important. Captain Liu, you should understand, Ye Hongwen already had a girlfriend, and Liu Jin's unfounded claim that she was his fiancée was a disgrace to his reputation. As a captain, a good reputation is crucial." Yun Yan and the others quipped, utterly amused, that besides emotional damage, There was also reputational damage. They'd learned something new. Then how is this reputational damage calculated? Liu Wan suddenly had a bad feeling. If it was the most important, wouldn't the compensation be even greater? Liu Jin tugged at her father's white military uniform, nearly calling him an idiot. What's the point of talking about reputation? Yi Hongwen wasn't even on the Shenyu yesterday, so how could he be involved? Meeting Lin Miaomiao's half-smile, Liu Jin's eyes deflated. She felt like she was waiting for her prey with a gun at hand. She'd suffered enough, so she'd better be cautious. Lin Miaomiao shook her head regretfully. She'd actually learned her lesson. How could she possibly articulate her ideal compensation? She could only pout. Since we're all Federation soldiers, just give me 1,000,000 credit points as a token of appreciation. What did you say? 1,000,000, Liu Wan and his daughter exclaimed in unison. Did they mishear, or was the person saying it crazy? It would be quicker to just go and rob them. Don't you think it's too little? Look, we've been through life and death together on this mission, so a cheaper price is only right, Lin Miaomiao said, citing the Fengjia incident as an example. Captain, he paid millions of credit points for emotional distress last time, and this time you're only giving me tens of thousands. Lin Miaomiao's words were filled with the implication that they were making a killing, but Liu Wan's eyes darkened. Who had his daughter offended? She was asking for 1,000,000 credits right away. Compared to his own 300,000, it was a joke. No, this compensation must not be agreed to. If he agrees, his family will probably go bankrupt, and the family fortune he has worked so hard to save will be gone. You are blackmailing me. Liu's eyes were red. Her monthly pocket money has never exceeded 2,000 credit points since she was a child. She was so happy when she heard Lin Miaomiao agreed to pay her 200,000 credit points. Who knew that things would take a sudden turn for the worse and they would be asked for a huge amount of compensation? Lin Miaomiao looked at Liu's eye in confusion. I am not blackmailing you. I just sorted out the losses and gave you a total. I don't believe it. I just said that I am the future wife of the captain of Shenyu. How can there be such a huge loss? Liu's eye was going crazy. She always had the upper hand in fights with others, but she was defeated by Lin Miaomiao repeatedly in the past 2 days. This feeling of powerlessness made her want to bang her head against the wall. Hey, how can you be so? When you asked us for compensation, Miaomiao readily agreed. Now it's your turn, and you're accusing her of blackmail, Yun Yan said disdainfully, rolling her eyes at them. She's the captain of the first Azure Dragon Fleet. Don't you dare throw mud at my dad. Liu Jin gritted her teeth. Her demands for compensation are unreasonable. We have the right to refuse. How is it unreasonable? I think it's perfectly reasonable. How about I explain it to you? Yun Yan, the little cook, was smug, feeling incredibly relieved. Liu Jin refused to be outdone. Then explain it to me. If the reason isn't good, forget about the reputation damages, then listen carefully. Yun Yan turned and winked at Lin Miaomiao. Little cook, it's your turn. Defeated, Lin Miaomiao had put on a serious front, but now she was putting the blame entirely on her. However, as a part-time businesswoman, she couldn't resist the idea of money, so she earnestly explained the reason for the large compensation demand. Yi Hongwen is the captain and the only 6th-level mecha master currently employed by Shenyu. He's a living signboard during the annual recruitment season. If his reputation is damaged and everyone starts to dislike him, how will the fleet recruit new soldiers? Lin Miaomiao said this with conviction. Yun Yan suddenly realized something and continued, if the fleet can't recruit new soldiers, it can't develop. If it can't develop, it will always lag behind, and if it lags behind, it will be bullied. You guys are so vicious, is it that serious? Zhang Sanbei was shocked. How could this be? Meng Jia's people were so mean, they must have done this on purpose. So he said indignantly, no way, the loss is so huge. How can the little cook only want 1,000,000? She should at least want 3,000,000. With a click, the string in Liu Wan's head snapped, and he roared, can't we just not ask for compensation? Zixi, let's go back. Lin Miaomiao had described the consequences so seriously that Liu's eye was already scared. He nodded his head repeatedly and was about to leave. At this time, Yi Hongwen said coldly, the compensation has been negotiated. Isn't it a bit too much to just walk away now? Captain Liu, do you think we are easy to bully and are here to have fun? How about we go back and ask the military to mediate? If the military were to mediate, Liu Wan would be in big trouble. Not to mention that Liu Jin, as the deputy captain, had come to the Shenyu to cause trouble while on a mission. Even Liu Jin's position as deputy captain was questionable. It's okay for her to do this in private, but if the matter is brought to the military, Liu Wan will have no chance of getting away with it. At this moment, Liu Wan wanted to die. With them like this, who would dare to bully them? Who could bear the millions in compensation they asked for? He didn't have a wealthy son like He Xingming. Can't we just apologize? Liu Wan said with a sad face, pushing his daughter aside. Zixi, go and apologize to Miss Lin. Make sure she forgives you. Liu's eyes face paled as she approached Lin Miaomiao and said with difficulty, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Please forgive me. I forgive you, Lin Miaomiao said graciously. But you still have to pay what you owe. Otherwise, others who do wrong will follow your example. Liu's apology wasn't voluntary in the first place. She'd thought her apology would be enough, but she didn't expect the other party to hold on to her. Her temper, which had been scared away, returned, and she couldn't help but raise her hand to slap him again. What do you want to do? Yi Hongwen unhesitatingly pulled Lin Miaomiao behind him to protect her. How dare you hit my sister in front of me? Lin Xianhao was furious and rushed forward to strike. Yun Yan and the others also clenched their fists without hesitation. Seeing his daughter's impulsiveness again, Liu Wan secretly groaned inwardly, not wanting to delay his action, and grabbed his daughter. Wait, everyone, don't be impulsive. It's just a $1 million payout, I agree. But I don't have that many credits right now. I'll give them to you after playing for a few days, Liu Wan shouted. And so the matter was happily settled. Chapter 297. There are always people who love to lose their moral integrity. Liu Wan and his daughter arrived in a rage, but left like bereaved dogs. Their original claim had morphed into debt. Lin Miaomiao had agreed to compensate them with 300,000 credits, but they were instead ordered to pay 1.1 million credits, meaning they owed Shenyu 800,000. This outcome made Liu Wan wish he could turn back time. He would have dragged his daughter away from the Shenyu fleet. While the Liu father and daughter were dismayed, Lin Xianhao was thrilled. With such a calculating sister, how could his pocket money be low? Dear sister, Lin Xianhao leaned forward with a lecherous look. What do you think of Big Brother treating you? With a slap, Lin Miaomiao slapped him across the face, gently pushing his face away. With a deadpan tone, she scolded, just talk. Why are you getting so close? Lin Xianhao pouted in grievance, his voice clenched. Sister, you're so mean. How dare you treat your big brother like this? Ren Jiao shuddered and walked away silently. How could she have fallen for such a shameless person? Wow, brother, how? Are you okay? Zhang Sanbao yelled. When did you become so effeminate? People are losing their moral integrity every day. I must adapt to this crazy world, Yun Yan muttered to herself, slowly moving to the corner. If you see someone losing their moral integrity, you must stay away from him to avoid being infected. The little cook said, if you keep company with vermilion, you will be red. If you keep company with ink, you will be black. She couldn't let herself be corrupted. The only one who remained calm was Yi Hongwen. As a big iceberg, he said that the pressure he was under was too great, and now few people or things could move him. However, to show that he had good moral integrity, Yi Hongwen also pulled Lin Miaomiao to the side. Hey, what do you mean by this? Lin Xianhao was angry. It's as if I have an infectious disease. You all ran so far away, after all, they are siblings from the same mother. Lin Miaomiao couldn't bear to see him being disliked by everyone, so she kindly reminded him, brother, quickly pick up your moral integrity. You speak in such a coquettish voice that it's scary. Lin Xianhao frowned. I just want to discuss something with you. If you have something to discuss, just say it directly. Why are you making it so scary? Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief. I thought you were possessed. Lin Xianhao was a little dizzy. It was just that his tone was a little coquettish, but this group of people avoided him like the plague. There was no team spirit at all. No, he must never ask his sister for pocket money in public, otherwise he would be laughed to death. Having made up his mind, Lin Xianhao nonchalantly said, it's nothing serious. I'll talk to you later. Lin Miaomiao was a little skeptical, but she didn't intend to press the issue. She simply nodded and said, all right then. With the matter resolved, there was no need for everyone to stay in the lounge anymore, so they prepared to move on. Everyone had different opinions on whether to go to the training room or return to their rooms to rest. An excited Zhang Sanbao decided to go to the training room for a workout. Gu Qingheng said he had some other matters waiting for him to resolve, and Lin Xianhao took his fiancée back to their rooms to rest. Ye Hongwen also wanted to take his girlfriend back to their rooms to rest, but Lin Miaomiao said to Yun Yan, "Don't you want to go to the infirmary to see Sleeping Beauty? Let's go now." Sleeping together was too embarrassing, and she wouldn't do it, not even for the sake of simply sleeping under the covers. "Oh, I almost forgot. Let's go," Yun Yan said, dragging them towards the infirmary, completely unaware of her boss's gloomy expression. Because it was absolutely safe on the ship, the doors of the wards were all open. The two walked in leisurely but were startled because there were more than 20 or 30 people crowded in the ward. "Hey, little cook, you are here to see the beauty too." Luo Cheng smiled and waved at her. "I thought I was in the wrong place." Lin Miaomiao was speechless. The beauty was so attractive. There were both men and women present. Bai Jin smiled and said, "Miaomiao, come and see, this person is really more beautiful than you." "Let me see." Yun Yan squeezed over and said in surprise after just one look, "She is really much more beautiful than Miaomiao." Lin Miaomiao's heart was broken into pieces. Even if it was the fact, there was no need to emphasize it again and again. These people couldn't have done it on purpose. Did she offend them when? She racked her brains but couldn't figure out the problem, so she could only ask with a dull face, "There are so many people in the fleet who are prettier than me, why do you have to compare me with him?" "I don't know." Everyone was bewildered. Everyone compares them this way, so it does seem a bit strange to say. Renjia Ojio, Bai Jin, Feng Zudi, and even the unpleasant Sheng Ruinen are all very beautiful, but only Lin Miaomiao is the one who is caught in the crossfire. Finally, Yu Hongbo remembered. It seems that it was Dr. Ji who said it. It was also him who revealed that there was a sleeping beauty in the infirmary. Everyone was reminded and nodded to confirm the fact. It was Dr. Ji who said it while eating breakfast. Someone even creatively imitated Dr. Ji's exaggerated tone and said, "Everyone says that the little cook is a beauty, a goddess, but last night I really saw what a stunning beauty is. It is simply heartwarming at first sight." In front of him, the little cook is 3 points inferior. Bai Jin's eyes lit up. "Yes, that's what he told me, and he also said it's a pity that it's a sleeping beauty. If she were awake, the little cook would probably be restless." Lin Miaomiao's mouth twitched, and she asked helplessly, "Why should I be restless when he's awake?" Everyone felt embarrassed when they heard this. If they said this answer, they would definitely be retaliated, but it seemed a bit bad not to say it. At that moment, Zhang Sanbao pushed through the crowd and stepped forward, saying naively, "I know that. He's prettier than you, and you're worried the boss might fall for someone else." Lin Miaomiao gritted her teeth, forcing out a few words. "Did Dr. Ji say that too?" "That's right." Everyone nodded rapidly. The cook's expression was so terrifying that they dared not shield the culprit any longer. "Great. It seems he's been living too carefree and even teasing me." Lin Miaomiao curled her lips, mentally calculating revenge. If Dr. Ji joined in the rumor mongering, it wouldn't hurt. He already had the nickname Quack, and a few more gossips probably wouldn't bother him too much. Finding him something to do was difficult, as he was only a military doctor. Aside from the sickness and injuries of the team members, he didn't have to worry about anything else. After racking her brains for a long time, Lin Miaomiao finally came up with a good idea. Hadn't someone asked her for an extra meal yesterday? So, she might as well grant their wish tonight. After all, she had already won a victory today, so she might as well celebrate. "We'll have an extra meal tonight. I'll go to the kitchen and prepare some," Lin Miaomiao announced. The crowd, who had been staring at Long Jiuwei, suddenly cheered. "Great. I knew Miaomiao was the best." Yun Yan was a little confused. She hadn't mentioned the extra meal to the captain just now, so why did he suddenly change his mind? But this was a good thing, and she was looking forward to it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298: The Consequences of Offending the Cook. The extra meals prepared by the young cook were very popular with Shen Yu. In less than half an hour, the evening meal had suppressed the rumor of a sleeping beauty lying in the infirmary, and no one told each other again. The sleeping beauty was 3 times more beautiful than the young cook. Lin Miaomiao was very satisfied with this result. If the rumors spread by the quack Dr. Ji were still enthusiastic, She would be unable to resist taking a kitchen knife to the infirmary to chop people. Don't get me wrong, she didn't go to chop the Sleeping Beauty out of jealousy, but to chop a quack doctor who lacked great virtue. Since the news of the extra meal had been released, Lin Miaomiao naturally had to cook a delicious meal. Thinking that there were less than 200 people eating, she decided to make a few more dishes, but it didn't matter if the portions were smaller, so that everyone could freely choose their favorite dishes and eat as much as they wanted. Next year, the number of people is expected to double, so it won't be easy to add more people, Lin Miaomiao sighed. The fleet has completed several large-scale missions this year, and with our military achievements, we can recruit more people. Yun Yan, who is washing vegetables with the robots, nodded enthusiastically. Next year, our fleet will definitely not be ranked last. We will at least surpass Luo Jia. You are so unsuccessful that you are satisfied with being ranked second to last. Lin Miaomiao despised her. At the very least, you have to be ranked third to last. Yun Yan burst into tears. Is there a big difference between the second to last and the third to last? Why doesn't she think being ranked third to last is very promising? Just as she was feeling depressed, Lin Miaomiao said, Yan, you're such an unqualified kitchen helper. It takes you ages to wash just a few vegetables, and look how fast Shen Jiu and the others are. Don't be so rude. Please don't hit me in the face. Yun Yan looked at the young cook with tears in her eyes. You barely cook, so how can I practice my vegetable washing skills? Except for the first 2 days when Lin Miaomiao had sneaked aboard, when she'd cooked obediently. On the third day, the burden of cooking fell back on Shen Jiu. This made so much sense, and Lin Miaomiao was speechless. She could only say dryly, since you're so aggrieved, I'll come into the kitchen more often when I have time to help everyone out, so you can learn more. Everyone was so kind to her, helping her when she was bullied, even in group fights. She was bound to return the favor. After thinking it over, she decided the most direct thing to do was to give them a few good meals. Yun Yan was stunned. After all she had said, shouldn't the young cook let her rest and stop washing vegetables? If she had to go into the kitchen more often, wouldn't she have to wash more dishes? The thought of herself washing the bok choy with a dusty face made even the delicious food feel like it couldn't soothe her tormented heart. By the time Yun Yan finished washing the bok choy, Chen Jiu and the others had already finished their work and were helping to marinate the steamed pork with rice flour. Lin Miaomiao glanced at the disheveled bok choy and sighed, poor bok choy. You can hardly recognize its original appearance, little cook, you're looking for trouble today. Yun Yan waved her wet hands and approached Lin Miaomiao aggressively. Tell me, did you get up the wrong way today? Put your sleeves down. You look so disheveled, Lin Miaomiao said coldly. I got up the right way today. I just don't like it when some people keep comparing me to Sleeping Beauty. Yun Yan hummed in guilt. She just repeated what others said, forgetting that the person involved would actually be upset. Although washing the vegetables was a bit tiring, Yun Yan was delighted once the vegetables were cooked. Tonight, there were many of her favorite dishes, such as stewed beef brisket with radish, boiled beef, pickled fish, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, stir-fried green beans, steamed pork with rice flour, and kelp and pork rib soup. As soon as the dishes came out of the pot, Yun Yan took her own bowl and filled it up. After finishing, she said unwillingly, next time, I'll buy a large, layered, insulated lunchbox to avoid mixing all the vegetables together and making them taste bad. Lin Miaomiao frowned. Is it necessary to go to such lengths just for a meal? Don't you say that food is the most important thing for people? Yun Yan said confidently. The ancients said so, which shows how important eating is. Lin Miaomiao was speechless. In fact, she was also a person who loved to eat. Otherwise, she could have avoided going into the kitchen after traveling here, but she chose to work hard in the kitchen just to eat better. Perhaps because they were too idle, or perhaps because of the temptation of extra food, a crowd had already gathered at the cafeteria entrance before mealtime. Seeing Yun Yan sitting at the chopping board, tucking into her food with big mouthfuls, everyone was jealous. Luo Cheng, relying on his position as team leader, squeezed his way to the first place. Even after succeeding, he was still not satisfied and kept yelling, "Little cook, please serve the food earlier, otherwise the food will get cold." If it were any other time, Lin Miaomiao would have given them a break, but when she remembered how they had just kept saying, "Sleeping Beauty is so much prettier than the little cook," her heart hardened. The truth was too hurtful, and even if it was said unintentionally, she could not easily forgive it. Glancing casually at the group of drooling people at the door, Lin Miaomiao said righteously, "There's no order without rules. Dinner will be served in 10 minutes anyway, so just bear with it." With a sullen expression, she took out 2 insulated lunchboxes. First, she filled the smaller one with kelp and pork rib soup. Then, she layered her favorite dishes into the larger one, and finally, she added the white rice. After everything was done, she prepared to leave. But before leaving, Lin Miaomiao solemnly instructed Shen Jiayu, "Serve dinner on time." Don't get it wrong, everyone was frustrated. They had originally planned to discuss this with Shen Jiayu after she left, but who knew the young cook had been prepared. Fortunately, their frustration didn't last long, as a few minutes passed quickly. Seeing Shen Jiayu turn on the light indicating that dinner was ready, everyone lined up and entered the kitchen. Just as everyone was beaming at the sumptuous dinner, a voice echoed through the cafeteria, "Shen Jiayu, what did you say?" "The cook asked you to prepare me leftovers from lunch." Jiu Yang held his bowl in one hand, the other shaking as he pointed at Chen Jiayu, unable to accept the harsh reality. "Yes, Director Lin ordered it herself," Chen Jiayu replied sternly. "Why? Everyone gets a share, why exclude me?" Jiu Yang was unhappy. "No, I'm going to confront the cook, don't waste your time," Yun Yan said kindly, wiping the oil off her lips. "This is what happens when you offend the cook. You're the one comparing me to Sleeping Beauty, she did it on purpose." There was no point in arguing. It was better to save the energy and think of other options. Jiu Yang suddenly realized that his words that morning had caused trouble. If he had known the cook was going to add more food, he would have kept silent. Now he realized the serious consequences of offending the cook. She actually wanted him to eat leftovers while others enjoyed their delicious meals. It was really vicious. He actually wanted to make him hungry to death. Jiu Yang was furious, but anger was useless. He could only hold the leftovers and stare at the others, which made people feel uneasy and unable to eat. Yun Yan held her forehead. This guy was too stupid. He was so stupid that she couldn't bear to watch it anymore. She took a bowl of soup and got some delicious dishes and handed them to him. "Let's go quickly, you scared everyone." This is the good thing about being a kitchen helper. Chen Jiayu treated her as his own. She could order food freely without queuing and eat as much as she wanted. Jiu Yang was so moved that his eyes were filled with tears. "Yan Yan, you are so good to me. In order to repay your kindness, I decided to marry you." Suddenly I wanted to strangle this guy to death. What should I do? Waiting online, urgent. Chapter 299, The Lucky Liu Chainer. The second day after the mission was completed passed by, and on the third day, finishing work on the Black Evil Wind base was finally complete. The planet was once again under the Federation's control, belonging to the 8 fleets participating in the mission. However, Black Evil Planet was located at the very edge of the Linling Star region, within the White Tiger Legion's sphere of influence. The other Legion's fleets were of no use. The White Tiger Legion's sole participating fleet, the Floating World Fleet, also had its own planet. So, they unanimously decided to auction it off and then divide the spoils. As for the buyers, it was naturally the White Tiger Legion, which had no fleet of its own planet. As the last place in latecomer fleet, Shen Yu had no say in the matter. Therefore, Yi Hongwen remained silent throughout, only choking back fiercely when He Xingming threatened to deny Shen Yu her share of the profits. Of course, Shen Yu ultimately earned her share of the profits, as Ren Changming stated, although she didn't participate in the fighting. Shen Yu oversaw the security and post-battle search, providing accurate and valuable intelligence and saving the lives of numerous mech warriors. She deserves due compensation. The matter was settled, and the fleet was due to return. Yi Hongwen had just given the order to prepare for the return voyage when the Jinghong requested docking. As a member of the same Central Corps, the Jinghong's request seemed odd, but Yi Hongwen agreed. As the hatch opened, Ren Changming and a few others departed, and Gu Qingheng, who was in charge of reception, hurriedly informed the captain. "We're truly flattered to have Captain Ren come to visit us personally," Gu Qingheng said with a warm smile. Ren Changming said sternly, "Deputy Captain Gu, your words are a bit exaggerated." "I didn't see you panicking." Gu Qingheng felt frustrated. He was just saying a few polite words. Was there any need to take it so seriously? "By the way, I saw that you notified your captain, right? By the way, please help me find Ren Jiao and her fiancé to come over," Ren Changming asked without hesitation. "Okay," Gu Qingheng agreed without saying a word. But he didn't have Ren Jiaojiao's contact number, so he could only send a text message to Lin Miaomiao. The reception location this time was still in the lounge. The Shenyu did not have a separate meeting room, and there were very few opportunities to receive guests on board. Fortunately, there was no one in the lounge. When they had nothing to do, everyone was used to going to the training room to exercise, and rarely came down to the first floor. Not long after, Yi Hongwen rushed to the lounge. Before he could say hello, a fashionable girl rushed out from behind Ren Changning, and rushed towards him without saying a word. Then, the girl fell heavily to the floor. "Wow! Hongwen, you're so cruel," the girl cried, climbing to her feet. "You actually hide away." Yi Hongwen frowned, seeing who it was, and asked, "Why are you here?" "Who brought you here?" "I brought her here," Ren Changning said calmly. "This person stood out from the pirate mecha division that surrendered. It said she was one of your team members, accidentally captured by pirates and forced into piracy. It turned out to be Liu Chainer, who had been captured at the same time as Long Jiuwei. She had also been sold to the Black Evil Wind by Huan Jing and, to survive, had also chosen to become a pirate. Captured by Federation soldiers, pirates were sent to the Star Prison, facing indefinite imprisonment. Liu Chainer refused to accept this, and she offered her former identity in an attempt to reduce her guilt. Unexpectedly, Shen Yu was also involved in the operation. After she half-truthed her story, Ren Changning took her directly aboard the Shen Yu. Liu Chainer knew full well that this trip to the Shen Yu would determine the length of her imprisonment, so she wanted to plead with Yi Hongwen and get him to speak well of her, which led to her throwing herself into his arms the moment she entered. The past 6 months had made Liu Chainer very confident in her looks, and she believed that if she could succeed in throwing herself into his arms, and then act a little coquettishly, Yi Hongwen would surely plead for her. It was ridiculous that her self-confidence was so inflated by the pirate's flattery that she had forgotten that if Yi Hongwen had been seduced by her beauty, she would never have been driven out of the Shen Yu. Now, her attempt to throw herself into his arms had failed, and she was left utterly humiliated. Yi Hongwen glanced at Liu Chainer with disdain and said coldly, "It's true that this person was once a member of my Shen Yu team, but she intended to use mecha gunfire to kill the new members of the mecha, and has been expelled from the army and kicked out of Shen Yu. I didn't." "Hongwen, how could you do this to me?" Liu Chainer said with a cold heart. "I just don't want to go to Xingao. Please say something nice and plead for me." Yi Hongwen didn't say anything. He would not plead for mercy, but it was not easy to refuse directly, so he could only remain silent. At this time, a mocking voice came from the door. "You were caught in a pirate's nest and are still alive. Should I say you are lucky, or should I say that you can endure humiliation and go along with the pirates in order to survive?" Needless to say, everyone knows what the fate of a beautiful woman who enters a pirate's nest is. In this era, there is no such harsh concept of chastity. If that were all, no one would blame Liu Chainer for surviving. But she became a mecha pilot for the pirates, robbing and attacking the Federation forces alongside them. Her actions couldn't simply be explained by a desire for survival. "What do you know?" Liu Chainer glared at Ren Jiaojiao as she entered, her expression precarious. "If I don't join them, anyone can bully me. So I have to become stronger, I have to climb higher than them, that way, no one would dare to bully her, and she would be the one bullying them." And the feeling of robbing was truly wonderful. The memory of others kneeling and begging for her plea filled her with a sense of relief. In the Federation fleet, it was all training and missions. Even if the missions were completed well, they only earned a few verbal commendations, and only a small promotion in rank was achieved through meritorious service. It was nothing like the freedom of being a pirate. If it weren't for these people, she'd still be living a carefree life. Thinking of this, Liu Chainer glared at Ren Jiaojiao with resentment. "Don't look at me like that. It makes me feel cold all over, like I'm being stared at by a venomous snake." Ren Jiaojiao shook herself and sighed rather depressedly. "I was originally going home happily, but seeing you ruined my good mood." Lin Miaomiao smiled. "If you don't want to look at her, then don't look at her. We're not here for her anyway. Just based on what she did to Miaomiao, I can't wait to beat her up every time I see her." Ren Jiaojiao nodded in agreement. She wanted to go up and beat her up a few times, let alone Xianhao, the big brother. However, when talking about the purpose of coming here, Ren Jiaojiao felt a little guilty. She had planned to completely confess her identity before going to the Lin family, but who knew that today would be the day she would be exposed. Chapter 300 Ren Jiaojiao's Identity. Lin Xianhao calmly led Ren Jiaojiao inside, seemingly oblivious to her nervousness. In reality, he was already laughing to himself. Before today, he had only assumed his fiancée was from a branch of the Ren family. Ren Jiaojiao had only vaguely mentioned a few things about the branch, but never the main branch. Of course, she mostly talked about how her parents and brothers doted on her. After receiving a text from Gu Qingheng, Lin Xianhao learned that Ren Changning specifically requested a meeting with Ren Jiaojiao and her fiancé. He then realized that his fiancé had been playing dumb. Given Ren Changning's status, coming specifically to the Shenyu to look for someone meant that the person he wanted to see must be someone close, perhaps a younger member of his family. Ren Changning had 6 granddaughters, but none named Ren Jiaojiao. This meant he couldn't be Jiaojiao's biological grandfather, which made Lin Xianhao secretly relieved. After all, the proposal and engagement at the Shenyu base were for the teammates to see, without informing either party's parents. If the biological grandfather had come, he'd probably have been beaten. The two of them slowly moved in front of Ren Changning. Lin Xianhao looked at his fiancée, waiting for her to speak first. It was his first time meeting her family, so he couldn't just say hello, chief, it would be too awkward. However, he didn't know what Ren Jiaojiao was struggling with, as she hadn't said a word for a long time. This made Lin Xianhao a little anxious. What if such impolite behavior made the elders think he was uncultured? Ren Changning was also getting impatient and simply spoke first. Jiaojiao, we haven't seen each other for over a year, and you don't even know how to greet people. Ren Jiaojiao glared at him fiercely, thinking with some resentment that it wasn't that she didn't know how to greet people, but she was afraid that if she spoke, she would scare someone. She had finally found a satisfactory boyfriend. What if she scared him away? No matter how much she hesitated, she still had to call out the right person. So, Ren Jiaojiao gritted her teeth, stamped her foot, and said, "Brother, Lin Xianhao," smiling broadly, prepared to call out, but upon hearing his fiancée's call, he nearly spat out blood, and his smile froze. What the hell, someone, come tell him it was all just a dream. His fiancée actually called Captain Jinghong brother. It was enough to scare the hell out of everyone on the planet. Brother? By blood, Lin Xianhao was foolish, a rare moment of silliness. I've never heard Captain Ren has a sister. Ren Changning's identity wasn't a big deal for the Lin family, but his other identity was far more astonishing. He was the youngest son of Ren Yaohu, one of the 5 great marshals of the Federation. Not only Lin Xianhao, but Gu Qingheng and the others also felt this world was unreal. Even Yi Hongwen, who had just entered, couldn't maintain his icy demeanor. Of course he's my biological brother. Seeing her fiancé's blunder, Ren Jiaojiao calmed down and said in her usual snarky tone, "There are so many things you don't know. Don't think you know everything." Lin Xianhao felt a little frustrated. If they were really siblings, wouldn't he have a martial father-in-law, several powerful brothers-in-law, and a bunch of tough nieces and nephews? Just thinking about their future life made him feel sour. If he had a fight with his wife, a group of her family would swarm over and beat him up, leaving him bruised and battered. After that, he would have to kneel down to apologize to his wife and then divorce her. This wasn't just Lin Xianhao's imagination, it was once reported in the gossip newspaper of Shaoyin Star. The male protagonist in the incident was Marshal Ren's eldest grandson-in-law. He couldn't give up on the wife he had finally caught. So he had to endure the pain. He didn't mind the beatings, as long as his wife didn't fly away. Jiaojiao, Lin Xianhao said seriously, I will definitely not quarrel with you in the future. Ren Jiaojiao was stunned for a moment, and then she realized that he must have read the gossip daily about the frustrating incident of Ren's grandson-in-law. She was about to explain, but then she felt that this was not a bad thing. She would definitely have the upper hand when she disagreed with him in the future. So he cleared his throat and said, "It's good that you have this awareness. Remember to think carefully before you act when you want to quarrel with me in the future, so as not to regret it after getting beaten." Ren Changning frowned. Of course he could tell what the young couple was referring to. How could he, an upright person, watch his sister lie with his eyes open? Jiaojiao, what are you talking about? Why would we interfere in the trivial quarrels between husband and wife? Explain that matter to Xianhao in private. Ren Jiaojiao pouted, I know, I was just joking with him. It turned out that there was something else going on. Lin Xianhao felt much more at ease. Although he had decided that it was okay to get beaten for his wife, It would be a great joy if he didn't have to get beaten. Lin Miaomiao was delighted, no longer intimidated by Ren Changning's status as his brother-in-law. He stepped forward, shook his hand, and said, "Hello, brother. Our first meeting was so rushed that I didn't have time to prepare a gift for you. I'll make it up to you next time." Ren Changning didn't understand why the gift was his business, as it shouldn't be something the Lin family prepared for his younger sister. But facing Lin Miaomiao's enthusiasm, he couldn't refuse. He could only mumble, "It was just too sudden, it's okay. I've already told Jiao I wanted to meet her family, but she was shy and wouldn't take me. Meeting you today finally puts my mind at ease," Lin Miaomiao said with a smile. "Since this is our first meeting, stay here for lunch. I'll have my sister prepare something delicious for you." To please his brother-in-law, Lin Miaomiao decisively sold out his sister. Cooking was her forte after all. "Okay," Ren Changning agreed, barely catching his words. Only when Lin Miaomiao released his hand and went to issue a mission to his sister did Ren Changning finally come to his senses. How had he been led around like that? He'd clearly come to censure him for his sister's unauthorized engagement. Furthermore, the fleet was about to return, and he'd only come to take a look while preparing. Now, he'd agreed to stay for lunch. What if this delayed their return? Ren Changning didn't have to fret for long before someone offered to help. "Captain Ren's a rare visit, so it's only natural we treat you to a simple meal. But we can't delay our return," Yi Hongwen suggested calmly. "How about we undock and return together?" Since they were both heading back to the Jilin Star region, their destinations weren't far apart. The two fleets would be traveling together for a long time, so returning together was perfectly natural. Ren Changning agreed without hesitation. "King Hen, I'll leave this to you," Yi Hongwen said, giving the task naturally. Recently, Yi Hongwen had stopped referring to Gu Qingheng as Deputy Captain Gu, and had begun to play up the peace play. There was no other way. His future wife was a good friend of his old rival, and if he didn't want to cause her dissatisfaction, he had to behave himself. After contacting the Jinghong, the two ships quickly separated. A few minutes later, the Shenaiyu set sail with a slight tremor. At this time, Lin Miaomiao had also contacted his sister and returned. He was gone for so long not because Miaomiao refused to prepare a banquet for his brother-in-law, but because he was excited and afraid of neglecting his future brother-in-law, so he insisted on ordering the dishes himself. Lin Miaomiao, big brother is the most annoying. He really treats her like a chef in a restaurant. She has to order the dishes herself. She won't do it. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.